do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
It is a bloody, gutty, closed Forbidden Door, maybe, Wednesday here on the Mark Order Podcast, episode 66, which means we're 3 weeks away from Sexy 69.
Heyo!
Whoa! Oh, back in the Garden State, AntMoney's here on your Wednesday night. And we got Kate the Great. We've got Ryan Schlong.
Hello.
Kate was waving. She forgets sometimes. I think we're on an audio medium.
I like to entertain the viewers and our listeners.
It gives people a reason to go to the YouTube.
It's true.
Oh, man. So, it's been quite a week.
Has it ever?
In the world of AEW and
in the world of AntMoney, it's been a heck
world
of a week.
In general, I guess.
Oh my god!
Quite a Kate, if you wouldn't mind, let's just get this out of the way at the top. You're not allowed to have any opinions tonight, so unless we tell you it's cool, just don't give an opinion.
I'm just gonna head back to the kitchen and look for the rest of my rights.
Sounds perfect. Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the oven where I'm baking a fresh baked pie.
Oh my god, that sounds so good, because I have a pie hole that I would like to shove pie into.
Ayo!
Oh, guys, all reality things aside, how is everybody?
Pretty good. Getting a little tired of doing the dance back and forth from my parents' place to Somerville to my sister's place. But other than that, things are good. Nothing wrong with any of the places I'm at, thankfully. Just it's been a lot of driving the same route. But I'm all right.
So in the world of your apartment status, where are we with repairs? Because the people have been following.
I appreciate you going on this journey with me. So when I went back, let's see, what did I do this weekend? I went to Stokely's show on Saturday, and I went to the beach with my sister on Sunday. In between the Friday when I went down there and the Monday when I got back to my place, or Sunday I got back to my place, it seemed like a significant amount of work had been done outside my unit. Which is good, because that means they're on the roof fixing things. But it also means I can't move my shit back up into my attic still until they're done. So, like, they're making progress. I would like to put my stuff back where it belongs. Yeah. But it's at least moving, which it wasn't for the first, like, I'd been complaining about this since October. So, I am just glad that something's finally being done, but slow and steady, my friend. But my rent is half of what it normally is until it's fixed. So,
hey, there you go.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, you're not living there, so it really.
Yeah, and it's livable technically, but like it's definitely not ideal, and I'm super not doing that with my dog. Like Buster will just bark for the whole day if they're doing repairs on my roof. Like that's a disaster. So but it's been good because I can at least like still enter my apartment. It was good to like go into the city this weekend and be able to stop there and see what was going on. So we're making it, guys. We're making it.
So I do have Sandman.
Excellent.
I do have one question though, Kate.
What's that?
You said you went to the beach on Sunday.
Yes. Came home, watched Forbidden Door.
What? No. I don't care about that. Where were all the thirst traps that we could have used to drive to social?
I want to pick my spots, and this didn't seem like the type of thirst trap outing as I was with my sister. That seemed weird and wrong.
I mean, you had somebody to take photos.
That's a good point, but I'm not going to ask my sister to take sexy pictures of me.
I mean,
sorry
judging by
fellas.
what Natty Neidhart is doing, seems like you could.
You know, that's a good point, but I'll just turn that back around on you, Ant, because you were also on a beach, and where are your thirst traps?
I took thirst trappy photos, thank you.
I didn't
Not of myself. Not of myself.
Huge,
did take some
huge
thirst
mistake
traps.
right there. How are you going to keep Mrs. Money around when Christian looks like he walked out of a GQ catalog every week, and we're seeing Tony Nese's abs, and you won't even take thirst trap pictures of yourself?
Listen, I
Participate in your marriage.
I almost had to watch Tony Nese's Pure Match for the second time in 2 days.
Great match, but that's not why she was interested.
I mean, I was told that's why. You know, it was a really great match. Can we watch it again? And I was like, that's not why you want to watch it again.
I need to watch it in half speed to study the intricacies.
Yeah, she's like, if they could just zoom. Mrs. Money chiming in saying that your pics are on OnlyFans, so I can't even blame you for that. Make your money. Make your Aunt money.
Also, Tony Z, I can't believe he's up so goddamn late, but he's saying who's up for double churros? I mean, I love churros.
Who doesn't love a good churro? Hi, Tony. He must have had his midday nap.
He's so old.
The oldest. If you listen to the Monday night show, you can hear him yelling about referees.
I was dying in the car on the way home from Chicago. And I just thought it was amazing. The best part. We'll plug for Millionaire Matt since he's not here. Monday Night Shining Wizards. Check out this Monday's episode. The point where they were talking about refereeing.
Yeah, Matt pulled himself off the stream so that they could just go head to head.
Just the best part.
Mark Henry to come in and be like, it's time for your main event after that, because it was just like a split screen of them just yelling at each other about referees. And like yelling at each other and mostly agreeing, which I thought was really funny. Like there was very much a middle ground that they came to, but they were both shouting.
Perhaps the biggest part, the biggest bombshell dropped on the Monday night show, and Tony Z said it. Kevin's gonna service the mark order. It's true. That was said. Ryan, you're part of this, so you know I know you're all in for it. That was my favorite part, and then it came up again, and all I kept saying was, "Hey, get in line. We're first.
That's it.
As long as we're in the front, Kevin could do whatever else he wants."
There it is.
Oh man. So you went to the beach, no thirst traps. Thanks for that. And then and you went to Stokes' show.
Yeah, which was good. His set got cut short because a comedian ahead of him blew the light by like an extra 7 minutes or something egregious, but it was very fun, very funny. And a really cool, I don't know if you've been to any shows at the Stand, but it's a really it's a really nice room, and they don't like gouge you on 2 drink minimums or anything like that. Like it was a really, really chill environment and a good lineup. I always have a lot of respect for comedians anyway, but to merge a room of some people that know about wrestling and some that don't, and have to cater to both key demos, if you would, while you're in there, is a tricky thing to do. And Stokely was great, and a lot of the comedians that were on before him were really, really, really solid. It was a blast. So we had a good time.
Were you upstairs or downstairs?
This was downstairs in the main room.
Okay.
I guess the first one sold out the small room, so then they went into the big room. But on the weekend of Forbidden Door might have not been like the greatest call. Right.
Well, I mean, but it's not like it was in New York City, so they weren't necessarily
correct. Yeah,
competing.
But
who else? Do you remember who else was on that show?
I don't. There weren't any other like
names.
Big names, but there is going to be one with him and Mark Henry at some point. So that'll be fun to look out for sure.
Yeah, and with some no-name comics, Dave Chappelle, John Mulaney, just people no one's ever heard of.
Some
I don't know any of them.
Some jobber, John Mulaney. I don't know. Not familiar. Adam Sindler. I don't know.
Oh, doesn't sound familiar. And I guess if anybody out there is listening, and we know at least 10 people are watching us at this moment, you should certainly, and we're going to talk about Dynamite in a little bit, but you should certainly tweet or get in touch with Stoke and just tell them the Mark Order Pod or at Mark Order Pod said you need to bring Sonny into the baddies. That's all you have to do. Just tell them at Mark Order Pod sent you. Get Sonny into the baddies, please.
Sonny into the baddies.
Just hound
say
him.
Say it yourself. Say it from us. Say it in general. I've seen a lot of it online, which is good because that does feel like something that needs to happen. So,
yes,
for the best.
Just an FYI. Ryan, how have you been?
It's been grand. I went to the beach this weekend.
Grand. No thirst traps from you either. Wow.
Come on, Ryan.
I was lying. I didn't go, but you beat me to the fact. Killed my joke because I was going to make fun of you that I was going to unleash a bunch of thirst traps. But no, I did nothing. I do nothing.
I'm pulling for a Mark Order calendar.
I've said I'm in. I want to be December.
Santa with his package.
Well, there's the hat will not be on the head on my shoulders.
Snow Bunny. I want Snow Bunny Schlong. That would be very sweet.
Well, that could be January. I could be December and January.
I think Ant should do the Kelly 4th of July bikini shoot.
I don't recall that, but I can certainly look it up.
It's like, I know, I'm sorry to have to put you through this, but it's just like her in an American flag bikini, like.
If he must look it up.
If one must.
I mean, it's got to be this one that I'm finding right now. Hold on. Oh, these fucking things. It's not going to be big enough to share. Sorry. It's not going to. This isn't panning out as well as I thought it was.
The demand for Schlong is both wonderful, but also really discouraging as I am the sole woman in the group. And we have a lot of straight male viewers. But you know what? If Ryan's the moneymaker,
that's for sure.
It's true.
Schlong, I'm also
ever fade. Got a sick Nelly Furtado impression. You're welcome.
I wasn't going. I was going Xtina, but okay.
Well, then you're just dirty.
Oh yeah, he's dirty era Xtina.
Dirty.
And the trashy black highlights. Oh, yes. Perfect.
So Schlong, I asked about it before because it looked like somebody else in the background, but would you like to fill people in on your background tonight? It's not very wrestling related, but it's fantastic.
I think it's very wrestling related based on tonight. It is the classic band. Is it End Together or Together?
It's just together. End Together was Limp Bizkit.
Okay. So it's the classic band Together. I think we all remember this classic boy band.
Of course. You plus me.
Plus sign. Me. Equal sign. Us. I know my calculus.
That's how calculus works.
That's right.
It felt like I should honor the Jazz tonight.
I like it.
That's fair.
I do like it. Ryan, it's sad that you didn't do anything this weekend. I'm not going to lie. We got to get you out. We got to get you some vitamin D in the sun.
It's true.
We got to do something.
Look at me.
And did you do anything this weekend?
I didn't.
I was going to go to that. And stayed home, did nothing. No traveling.
Stayed home. You just stayed home.
Hung out at him. Had a hoagie, some water.
This is why I don't go out. I don't want the abuse.
No, you wouldn't get abuse. You're in your own backyard. Everybody's like you down there.
It's true.
You go to the Philly Riviera, Wildwood.
Wildwood. By the water.
That's right.
Most of them speak the way I speak down there, so I don't know.
I know.
There you go.
So for me, going down there, it's like going to a foreign country.
Yeah, I don't go to Wildwood really, though.
Why would you?
Gotta get you out and about. Oot and
There's
boot.
better South Jersey beaches.
Oot and boots.
Well, now
When
we're
did I become
Canadian.
Canadian?
I don't know. We
I
gotta
don't
get
know. You're
you.
very nice. It kind of fits.
A lot of apologizing. Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm not your
Oh,
buddy,
sorry.
guy.
I'm not your
My
friend,
friend,
guy. I'm not your.
I'm not your guy,
friend.
buddy. I'm not your buddy friend.
Wait, but for realsies, Aunt, how do you want to structure this? Because we have to do a Forbidden Door recap. Do you want to switch it up tonight, or do you want to do this now? Like, do you want to do rankings and commercial block and then talk about Forbidden Door and
No.
Dynamite and your trip?
So we're foregoing
All the
Rampage.
nonsense. Okay.
And rankings. Let's just get rid of those two things.
No, we're doing the rankings. Fuck you. People tune in for the rankings. When we don't have rankings,
People
we
riot.
tank. Yeah,
true.
people do not like it. I hear about it all over. No, we're not going to talk about Rampage because it's pointless in the scheme of things. So we're going to talk about Forbidden Door first, and then we're going to get into Dynamite. So let me tell you about the. There you go. Let's talk about the road trip.
Yes, please.
I
had such baseball game before wrestling show envy. I was like, that's my thing. I want to go.
I don't want to. Well, let's get into it and just tell you this: we became very good friends on Instagram with a couple of huge brands. So
we did, yeah.
I'm very excited that it panned out for us. So let's talk about the trip out. So we left Thursday night, relatively on time. Eric Freeds wants to talk about the music of the road trip. We'll get there a little bit.
Made love all night.
No.
Bro, his brother went.
Well, so did someone else, though. So
yeah,
I mean,
so did Jay. We're not brothers.
Or are you Eskimo brothers?
No, we're never. Not even in the same league. Anyway, so we left Thursday relatively on time, and we didn't really hit any issues on the road. We stopped in Youngstown, Ohio, to split the trip up.
Okay.
We woke up the next morning.
How long's the drive before we?
Oh, the whole drive from Chicago or New Jersey to Chicago, 12 hours.
Okay, it helps give me context to like when you start describing stops being like either you guys stopped way too much or not enough.
No,
if it was a certain, like if you told me the drive's like, oh, it's 5 hours and I see you stop at 3 food places, I got issues as to what the hell you guys
no. So it was certainly 12-hour drive, and Youngstown is sort of like believe it or not, like a midway point, because you get all the way through Pennsylvania and you're kind of like right over the border in Ohio. The way out, we stopped twice. The first time was for gas and to kind of stretch a little bit because we were getting close to the border. And then the second time was right before we got to the hotel to get something to eat because we hadn't really eaten anything. So we decided to stop at Sheetz. I'm going to put this out there and fuck the haters. Sheetz is in the hierarchy of gas station, convenience store, food places. It is Sheetz. And these are the places I've been to because I've never been to Buc-ee's or any of these other places. I got to get to Buc-ee's. I hear it's amazing. But anyway, it goes Sheetz, very, 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 very far down, Wawa.
No, you're already wrong. We can stop.
And then Quick Check. Nope, you're absolutely wrong. It is Sheetz, very far down, Wawa, and then Quick Check.
What about 7-Eleven?
That doesn't even qualify. Food on rollers? Come on, Kate.
What about the place that we went? Crap, what's it called? In Baltimore with the fried chicken, and we both got diet ginger ales because we're
yeah. I don't remember the name of that, but I haven't been to those enough to be able to, put them on the list. It was some other bullshit. I don't know.
So unlike Jericho, they did not make the list.
No, they didn't make the list. It's something Royal Farms. I think that was it.
Royal Farms.
We didn't get the chicken though, so I can't. We didn't get
overrated.
So anyway, stopped at Sheetz, stretched out a little bit, took a nice photo of the sheets. Went to bed, woke up the next morning, found out Sheets was like, "Hey guys, thanks for coming. We like your picture. Thank you. Have some bites." I was like, "Hey Sheets, let's talk about a little sponsorship for the Mark Order podcast. You know, I'll take some
A little
bites."
back scratching. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
So we woke up the next morning. We went to, how else are you going to start your trip out to a wrestling event in the morning? Stopping at Waffle House.
Of course.
Got to go to Waffle House. Danny Magic and Tall Jay had never been. So I was like, we got to go.
What?
That's what I said. I was like, we got to go to Waffle House. And then they started asking him when they're ordering, like, what kind of waffles do you want? And that, like, made Danny Magic's brain explode. He's like, what are you talking about? And they were like, blueberry, chocolate chips, peanut butter.
Yeah. It's called
Like,
Waffle House,
wait.
not Waffle Cubicle, where you only get one waffle
Sure.
type. to
Waffles
choose from.
versus pancakes.
Well, these are not Belgian waffles, Schlong. Have you been to Waffle House?
Long time ago.
Okay. So it depends, because I will take a Waffle House waffle over a pancake over like a Belgian waffle. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Waffle House waffles are not the really thick Belgian waffles. They're just almost, Kate, almost like an Eggo, right?
But yeah, I would say closer to Eggo than Belgian.
Yeah.
But I like
But I
ones that are
also
thicker.
like. Oh, we
You
know.
love it thick, Schlong.
We know with 2 C's.
Thick.
I feel like it's mood dependent for me. Like sometimes I'm in more of a pancake mood, and sometimes I'm more of a waffle gal.
It also depends where you go. If I go to a
Very.
place that's known for pancakes, I'm going to get pancakes. I'm not going to get a waffle.
There it is.
Went to Waffle House. What am I going to do?
You're at a
Get French
diner.
toast?
You're at a good old-fashioned Jersey diner.
Pancake, because it's a Belgian waffle usually, and that's pointless to me.
See, I like Belgian waffles, but pancakes are just so good.
I also
think
feel
you
like
could
I'm
both.
more apt to get like a really great side situation with pancakes, where a waffle, I feel like I'm usually just all in on the waffle, but pancakes, I'm like also like round out my meal. You know what I mean?
I want to point out the difference between Kate and me. Kate's like, oh, I got a side with pancakes. And I go, oh, pancakes are my side.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've done that before too.
Waffles are also a side at Waffle House if you really want them to be.
Can I get a waffle with a side of waffles? Thank you.
I mean, I had to
The
fuel
people
my
are-
day.
The
I got-
people are asking about Cracker Barrel and French toast
I mean,
separately.
all right, we have to answer these one by one. This is going to be a long show, folks, so strap in. Let's
Thankfully,
see.
the blood and guts match took up like an hour of Dynamite, so
Yeah.
we'll be able to save
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, yes.
Thoughts on Cracker Barrel, Asian Joe? I don't mind it. You kind of know what you're getting there. But I usually,
It's a barrel full of crackers.
that's right. I feel like the times I've stopped at Cracker Barrel on the road, it wasn't for breakfast, believe it or not. It was for like dinner. So
That makes
I don't
sense.
I don't know how many times I've actually had breakfast on Cracker Barrel. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with it.
With Cracker Barrel, it's like if you're planning to go there, it's a breakfast situation. If you're like, we need to stop for dinner, oh, Cracker Barrel, like that happens too. So I think it's
To
just
me,
like
it's a place
I wasn't.
you
done.
don't know where you're at, and you're like, I don't know what to get here. I don't know any of the food. And you see Cracker Barrel, and you're like, I know what this will be.
I wasn't done.
I know.
I have a Cracker Barrel story, and it is my favorite. So years ago, I went to Bonnaroo, and like every responsible person in their early 20s, I went in like this really old Camry with people I didn't know that well, and one friend who I knew very well. And the friends that we didn't know that well, their car broke down and they abandoned us immediately.
Of course. Mhm.
So trying to figure out how to get back. Like Ryan thinks he's insulting me by sleeping, like he's not sleeping through half the show or pulled off the screen usually.
True.
On the way back, we had a whole amalgamation of ways to get home, one of which was the train ride. But before the train ride,
Kate with the I wasn't done on Schlong. Also, Kate, I thought I told you to keep this all to yourself unless we asked you for your opinion. But go ahead.
you know
Go
what?
ahead.
That's a
You know
really
what?
good
Why
point.
don't you?
Cracker Barrel
That was
though,
where I was
probably
going
is
with the joke, but okay.
my womanly domain probably belongs with Cracker Barrel.
I'm
But
just kidding. Go.
we were in, I think, in Knoxville, Tennessee. And my friend, who was healthy and weird, asked what their vegetable of the day was, and their vegetable of the day
Bad decision.
was cornbread dressing.
I thought you were gonna go creamed corn.
No, well, but like that's the point. Corn,
Yeah,
barely a vegetable.
true. It's a
Corn.
starch.
It's a starch. Cornbread,
Not even a
close.
vegetable at that point. You've bastardized corn.
It's bread.
Yeah.
Cornbread dressing. Like, how far away are we from a vegetable? And that was Knoxville, Tennessee in a nutshell from my experience there.
Let me jump back real quick. I enjoyed that, Kate, but let me make
Thank
sure
you.
we're answering these questions. Where does French toast land in the debate? French toast, a little too sweet for my taste sometimes, depending on where you get it, because they just throw sugar all over the fucking thing. I know that sounds stupid because you pour sugar on it anyway with syrup.
Some
Awesome.
sugar on me.
Oh my god. But I don't generally go French toast. It would be, pancake or waffle and then French toast, I guess. Most places, if I'm looking at breakfast, most of the time actually, I'm doing eggs or omelet or something like that.
Same.
I am not generally a sweet breakfast fan.
It
But-
needs to, if you're going in on French toast, it's gotta be like Texas toast style bread. Like French toast really comes down to the bread that it's with. Needs to be cinnamon raisin or at
No.
least cinnamon to start.
No.
Yes,
Have you ever had challah bread?
of course.
French toast?
Yeah, it's really good.
But
But don't give me your flimsy bullshit, just like standard bread. No, like if it's French toast, you gotta come in hot with, like, it's gotta be like as thick as Ryan likes it. You know what I mean?
thick with three C's.
It's true.
5 C's.
Like, like you up
5.
thick. You know what
He
I
said
mean?
5. Yeah, thick. Wow, I didn't think Waffle House was going to stir up this much debate.
I did.
What kind? Gordon wants to know what kind of syrup do you prefer? Maple.
Straight down the middle maple. Get out of here with boysenberry and all that shit. No.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. If I were to find myself in an IHOP, which I really don't very often, but if I'm finding myself in an IHOP pre-pandemic, because I don't know what it's like post-pandemic, pre-pandemic when they're putting 3 types of syrup on the table, I'm using all 3 types of syrup.
Really?
Not at once. I'm asking for a separate plate, and I'm going to do one with syrup, one with berry, one with strawberry, whatever they got.
My
But if
issue
you
with
can-
I
boysenberry.
respect the hell out of that.
Ryan, can you come back on camera? I hate when I can't see your...
Oh, I like it so much better. I'd much rather look at these guys and together than at Ryan.
Hi,
My
Ryan.
issue with boysenberry is who named something edible so close to the word poison?
Well,
that's
maybe
the type
that
of
was the
baby
trick.
It was.
You
Maybe
did-
they're
yeah,
trying
change
to
it.
kill us.
Let me see. Did I miss any waffle discussion? I think we're caught up.
You get
Why
eggs.
does the show take 3 hours every
You
week?
get
guys?
cheesy
This
eggs
is why.
with potatoes on, like with home
Where are
fries,
we
with potatoes
talking
on the
about
side,
now? What the fuck
bacon,
are you-
sausage, short
Wait,
stack.
what kind of fries? Home fries.
Home fries. Anyway, so the whole point of this, we do the Waffle House gimmick. Take a nice photo. How else are we gonna start? Waffle House, we're best friends now. Waffle
That's
House
it.
commenting, liking, love it. And I said, slide up in my DMs, Waffle House. I'm a Waffle House slut. Let's do something.
Hey.
So we continue on our way, and the second day, our next stop.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Your buddy Joe Walsh had 2.5 eggs. And my question here is, how do you have half an egg?
Well, half an egg is going to get stuck to the pan eventually. That's my guess.
Unless it's hard boiled.
Oh, Eggos. You
Eggos.
fucked up.
Okay.
That's an even worse question is how do you leave half an Eggo? If
Yeah,
you're
what's the matter
making
with you?
3 Eggos, Joe,
Did Joe have a kid that would only want half an Eggo or would want 1.5 Eggos?
he does have a kid, but I don't think he's going to want a half an Eggo. I
Yeah,
think-
also
at 10 o'clock at
raise your
night.
kid right.
No, he is. Don't you worry.
If
That
not,
kid
if he's
is
giving them half Eggos.
tops. He's not. Trust me. Joe Walsh eats like a bird, slow and low. Anyway,
Daphne, is Daphne Joe's daughter?
dog,
Oh, I respect that.
large dog.
I respect giving a dog half an Eggo.
Eric Freed wants to know if we gave the Waffle House stickers. Unfortunately, Freed, we did not because the comment came later. You know, I don't think that local Waffle House is responding. I think it's corporate HQ. So, you know, either way, we're in with the Waffle House. We're in with Sheets. We're huge in the Midwest right now.
Yeah.
So our next stop of the day on our first full day of kind of travel was Indiana to Mr. Joe Walsh's. Joe Walsh lives very close to the shore of Lake Michigan. So we said, we're going to stop by and see you because it's been, 3 years since we've seen him in person because of this goddamn pandemic. So we had the plan to stop there, hang out for a little bit, stretch our legs, go on the beach, since my other guys had not been to the shores of Lake Michigan. So we get out there. We had a little time to kill, and my buddy Tall Man Jay, he's like a freak athlete. He's a great basketball player, collegiate player, set some college records at his school that still stand, great high school player, all around natural athlete. We pass a mini golf course with batting cages, and he says, let's hit some dingers. So
Clapping dingers.
So we stopped at the batting cages, even though we probably didn't have to.
Wait. Does it make you baddies?
Oh my God. Anyway, so we eventually
didn't want to learn the terrible truth. You wanted to just see some dingers.
So we head to Joe Walsh's on the shore of Lake Michigan. We headed out on the beach, got in the lake for a little bit, and then we made the rest of our way out to Chicago. Now, it should be known that Tall Man Jay had never been to Chicago. He really wanted deep dish pizza. So the plan was to get some deep dish, but we wanted to continue on to Chicago to sort of get in town at a normal hour. So we made our way, and Danny Magic is riding shotgun navigator, and he goes, which I know, Kate, you're like, how is he navigating? We went the wrong way to Baltimore.
Correct. Yeah, the wrong way. Just on very, very early in the trip, we went the wrong way.
Sure. So he goes, okay, Giordano's is open till 10. We're slated to get in at 9, plenty of time. So we're getting there, and now we had I had swam and all this stuff, and I said, listen, guys, I'm not planning on showering or anything. Let's just go straight for dinner. We're going to be hungry. Jay needs this pizza, blah, blah, blah. Tall Man Jay and Danny Magic say, well, we kind of want to shower. And I was like, we're going to be pushing it, but okay. Tall Man Jay changes his tune. I'm not going to shower. We can go straight there. Danny Magic needs to shower. Danny Magic says he feels sand all over him and he needs to shower. So we get there. He checks in and goes straight to the room. We unpack the car. And now we're rolling out to the Giordano's like 5 minutes away. And it's like 9:30, to which Danny Magic says, plenty of time. We roll up and they say, seating's done for the night. So our backup plan, which we had planned to go anyway, we swapped the days. We went to Kuma's Corner. Anybody out in the Chicagoland area, if you've never been to Kuma's Corner, it's like heavy metal and burgers and beer and stuff like that. So they play like death metal and fucking doom and all that kind of stuff while you're eating these crazy giant burgers.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. Love Kuma's. Rob Humphrey agrees there. Kuma's is amazing. It absolutely is. And then we call it a night. So now Saturday morning we wake up. The plan is to go to the White Sox game. Orioles are in town. Going to the White Sox game. Raining that
synergy. Orioles.
Oh, I know, Kate, and don't worry, I have something for you there. So we go. The game is scheduled for a 1:00 start, and it's raining that morning, but we're following along, and they're gonna definitely get this game in because Sunday Night Baseball was at 6:00. So if they had to double up, their Sunday game was at 1:00. They would have had to play a single admission doubleheader like 1 and 4. So they were going to get this game in no matter what. So we headed to the ballpark, and we get there, and the game was still delayed when we got there, so we had some time. I will say this: so we stayed in Schaumburg, which I thought was like 20 minutes away. It's like 40 minutes away. People think New York traffic is bad. Chicago fucking blows with the traffic. And the parking situation at Guaranteed Rate Field is the shits. We were driving around to get into a specific lot. Couldn't turn down the street. The guy goes, go to the next one, go around. Okay. So we go around, and then we're coming down the street, and they're telling us to go left. So we ask them, we have prepaid parking for lot A. So the lady goes, yes, down the street, stay left, go straight. And we get to the light, and they've got it blocked off. And the guy's telling us, go the other way. And we're saying, prepaid parking, lot A. And the guy goes, okay, this way. And he sends us down the road. There's nobody there. We're like, cool. So we enter the lot. It's a fucking drop-off. Like, the lot's blocked where we went in, but you can drop people off. So we now go around, and now we're parked down in fucking no man's land. We have to go under and over an underpass, under an overpass. We eventually get in. The ballpark's actually very nice. We were lucky enough to have seats from a season ticket holder. So, like, we had club access and all that stuff. Say this, very nice food, very nice ballpark. It was a giveaway day. It was a dual bobblehead giveaway. I don't even remember who the players are because it's the White Sox, let's be honest. But I gave them back to our guy who gave us the tickets, so I don't even have them to show you. But there were more people walking out of the stadium when we were walking into the stadium just with the bobbleheads. So that tells you something.
What?
Tells you something about the team on the field, Kate.
Yikes.
But the food was very good. The ballpark was very nice. So it was a good time. And Kate, this is where it kind of hit Danny Magic and myself but I'll give Danny Magic the credit. Every trip we've taken for wrestling and ball games, the home team has lost. And we did it for Baltimore. Baltimore lost. We did it this time. The White Sox lost. Funny enough, Baltimore won, and they were the away team.
They got their comeuppance.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a very nice day. We did that. Then we went back, and the whole time Danny Magic is going, we got plenty of time to get deep dish tonight. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Don't say that.
You're going to curse it.
Let's not jinx it. We did get deep dish. Tall Man Jay was in love with the deep dish. That was great. And then they decided to what?
Deep dish is mid.
I mean, it's a whole different.
Bread. It's not pizza. That's the problem. Yeah.
You can't compare it to like New York style or Detroit style. They're all different.
It's not pizza.
Personally, I don't like Detroit style.
It's a loaf of bread.
It's lasagna soup.
It is lasagna soup. Thank you. It's not very good. New York forever.
I mean, it's two different things. Anyway, and then they decided they wanted to go to some place that was like Dave and Buster's. So we spent the night there. That was very nice. I got Baby A some kinetic sand.
Nice.
As a prize with my tickets.
Nice.
So,
what games did you play?
Let's see. A lot of Pop Shot. Of course, Tall Man Jay, basketball player, wants to shoot hoops. Connect 4 with the basketball is a big thing now. Every time I played, I lost because the shot hit and then bounced out into the wrong the wrong row. Like
Oh
literally,
yeah.
I'm like, for the block, ugh. And then it was just Tall Man Jay's basically looking at me, shooting, and it's going right in. He's winning.
What was your shit when you were like a kid?
I like Time Crisis a lot. I mean,
Okay.
probably wasn't a kid. I'm going to age myself. Mortal Kombat, Street
Nice.
Fighter,
Mortal Kombat. Bam, 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 bam.
Virtua Fighter. A lot of those fighting games. Killer Instinct.
See, that was
Instinct
not.
Gold.
I like probably because I didn't have video games. Like I was a big skee ball gal.
I like skee ball. I like
And
skee
a
ball.
big do you remember like Big Bertha or whatever? With the plastic ball where you would throw it into her mouth and then her dress would expand and she would get fat.
Yes, I do remember that.
I used to win mad tickets on that.
You know what I'm very good at now, and
What do
I have to credit it to softball because I pitch.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a milk can or a milk jug at the boardwalk where you have to toss the ball
Yeah.
into the top of the milk. They have something like that now in an arcade. You get like 5 shots. I put 3 of them in the milk jug in a row.
Nice.
So I felt very good about myself.
Well played.
So that was very good. I like anything sort of like that. But yeah, so it was very very, very fun night. And then Sunday was the big day. So Sunday the weather was beautiful all day. We wound up going out to Navy Pier in the morning to hang out with sorry, I'm looking at the text. Aunt, did your knee that's scarred junior ever heal? I don't know what that means, but Eric Freeds, if you're talking
You hurt
about,
yourself in softball.
yes, that's what I was getting to, Schlong. Thank you.
You said you didn't know.
No, I don't. The text was very weird, but yes, it did heal up. It looks fucked up, but it's perfectly fine now. Thank you for thinking of me, Freeds. So we went to Navy Pier. We got some food at the Billy Goat Tavern, and I felt like a fucking idiot. I didn't know that was the big cheeseburger, like the place that SNL did their skit. Like I had no clue.
Yeah.
Very good. We hung out for a while. Then we headed out to the United Center for the big night, and we went straight in to where the Jordan statue was. So we got some pictures with the Jordan statue. We went to our seats, and then we commenced the evening of wrestling. And we're going to talk about that, but really quick. Then the next day, we drove home. And Schlong, we did the entire 12-hour drive in one day.
Yeah, I mean, 12 is not terrible depending on what time you leave.
It's long no matter what. Like, it just feels long. And we stopped like 3 times, like gas, and then maybe once or twice in between just to stretch because it gets to you after a while.
And then you had to go the wrong direction for an hour, probably.
Yeah, we did go to Michigan first. The crazy thing too, in reality, we realized it going out, and then going home, you realize too, like there's a stretch of road in, I don't remember if it was Indiana or Ohio, but you're on like Route 90, and you're going. There's all these overpasses, and you're like, where are the exits? There's no fucking exits. Like, if you get off that road, first of all, there's nothing. It's all farmland. And like one house plopped in the middle of all these farms. So it's like, if you get off, you're fucked, because then you have to just ride the side road until you can get on Route 90 again. So we didn't get off anywhere. I think the first time we stopped in Indiana just before we really got going to get gas. And then like we got through all that. We stopped in Ohio to get gas and like something to eat. We stopped somewhere in Pennsylvania to stretch and to go to the bathroom, and then like we did the rest of the ride home. So
and then you got back on the road.
On the roads. Yeah. And then I got up to go to work on Tuesday morning in the city, so that was fun.
Ooh boy.
Long couple days. A lot of fun. I know Asian Joe said it somewhere before. That I think he appreciated the videos on the TikTok. I put a couple videos up. One was definitely thirst trappy, me laying in bed lounging, talking in a very smooth voice. Yeah, see, I know how to do it. And then we put sort of like a recap video, just some pictures from the trip, and I put some effects on it. So Joe said he liked that. It was a wonderful trip, and just so you guys know, I truly do wish you guys could have come along, especially he who's not here, Millionaire Matt. Matt would have been on fire this whole trip because there are some things. There are some things I'm not going to talk about here. I'll tell you guys when we get off with like Danny Magic and Tall Man Jay. But Matt would have been beside himself quite a few times on this trip. It just would have been so much fun. So hopefully next time, if we take along, a big trip, we'll get to do it together.
I'll also take a moment to plug, since we mentioned Matt, the Bread Club on Fightful Overbooked is like crushing it on that channel. It's probably the most watched consistent show on there. And their episodes before and after Forbidden Door were really, really, really strong. So if you want to catch up on your New Japan, check it out. And it's just awesome to have Matt killing it on something that he knows so much about. And he's the only person other than me that's doing anything that's worth plugging.
Well, hold on real quick.
Well, wait, I just want to say this, Schlong, and then you can definitely get to it. Let's just be honest. The only reason Matt's doing it is because the true New Japan expert, Shining Wizards Tony,
it's just busy,
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So they settled for second best. Go ahead.
He just loves.
Well, my
Japanese
comment
food.
more is they call it the Bread Club, but we had a bigger food discussion right now than I've ever heard on their podcast.
That's a good point.
Never
But
about
ours
bread.
was more like the Carb Club. So.
But they never talk about bread, and I listen for bread.
No, I mean, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I did have to ask Matt, why is it the Bread Club?
Because Kojima.
Well, listen, I don't watch that much New Japan. Like I watch enough to know about who was appearing at Forbidden Door. Like, but I don't know all the ins and outs.
Just keep up with him on social media because all of his tweets are like, so grateful to be in this match. It's going to be a historic day. Also, I love bread. Like, there's just no additional context. But also, Schlong, if you want to plug yourself, because he was on a fight.
Schlong does that all
see that.
Well, I don't know.
So this weekend, I guess I did 2 small things this weekend, but I didn't leave my house, so I don't think it's considered doing anything. 3. I was on 3 Fightful Select shows, all related because Rob over at Fightful Select likes me.
The fuck am I? Chopped liver?
That's more Fightful Select shows than I did, so.
And watch other people's shows, and then they like you.
Fuck Fightful. How about that? Fuck them.
Wow.
So I did
now they'll bring a heel.
I did Coexisting After Dark with Rob and Maggie, and then on Sunday I did an Obi-Wan review with Rob, Maggie, and Doc Mueller.
I'll say this, Schlong. I didn't listen to it, but I had a lot of hot takes on fucking Obi-Wan that we can get into off the air.
I loved it, so I don't have that many hot takes, but
not that I didn't love it, but there were definitely some things that I was like, okay.
Ryan loved something? I'm stunned.
And then I was on a Forbidden Door preview show that day as well. So you can check out 3 things over on Fightful. So like the one that holds up the Friday show, Coexisting After Dark, and the Obi-Wan obviously have a little bit more staying power because neither is very specific to a wrestling event that is already passed.
That is fair.
I'll say this. Listen, Joe Walsh makes a great point. I was boots on the ground in Chicago.
It's true. You were our correspondent there.
No, that's fine. Nobody,
You've always been our boots on the ground.
I'll just go fuck myself, I guess.
We sent you to Jacksonville.
I'll just go fuck myself. Also
Save it for the Oli fans.
Freed says, "Why off the air, Obi-Wan? I'm down because this show's already an hour in, and we haven't even really talked wrestling.
My God, figure talk, Obi-Wan. Who gives
no
shit?
Figure talk? I did get
lots of people.
I did get something in the mail. I got the shirt behind me. I don't know if you guys could see it. This is a blending of everything I love.
Oh, that is great.
I think it was Ruckus Tees did it. It was a very short run. And
I ain't afraid of no Sting.
That's right. So they came out really great. I'm happy to have gotten some. No, that's awesome, Schlong. I saw you were looped into that stuff. I've got something I'm working on, by the way, and I'm not going to give it away until I know.
Don't give it away till you can plug it.
Good, because we keep saying we're doing stuff and we don't make any progress on it. So let's.
No, not for this. Just for my own appearance outside of this place. How about that?
And when you're ready,
how you guys like me now? Huh? How you like me now?
I love that. We love
Make
that.
sure you
for
do
you.
so we can plug. So we can plug you. Yeah. So we can plug you.
Oof. God, I'm such a plug slut.
I
will say this. I do need to say we will, but I do need to say this. Milwaukee Tom was out there. He did say, sorry, I missed you guys this weekend. Tom, we are sorry we missed you, just not enough fucking time, man. Like, every time you do one of these trips, you're like, yeah, we'll get to hang out. We'll get to do that. There's no goddamn time. Like,
from what I've been told, Milwaukee Tom is like the Don of wrestling people when they get together, that he's never by himself. So I bet you Milwaukee Tom was just crowded with people at all times.
Milwaukee Tom is a fucking legend. So
I'll say this.
He had his visor on.
He
had
did.
his Hawaiian shirt on.
I was looking out for it. I was looking all the fuck over when I was in that building. And I didn't see him. And I also don't know where he was.
I'm so curious if him and Dan Barry have the same Hawaiian shirt because they look very similar. He sent me a selfie.
Are they the same person? Have you ever seen them
Dan Barry and Milwaukee Tom? I haven't seen them in the same room.
See?
If anyone should know, it'd be you, Kate.
Thinking.
It's true. I am married to one of them.
Well, engaged. You're not married yet.
That's a very good point.
Well, guys, let's talk a little bit about wrestling. We don't have to go through the whole card. We'll run through the results and stuff from the Forbidden Door. There are certainly things I want to touch on. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but again, I'm going to go through the results. And when I want to talk about something, I'm going to stop. When you want to talk about something, just like signal me or something so I know to stop and talk.
I will make a sound like this. Okay. You'll know that I want to say something.
I would like to, off the top, I would like to say fuck Bleacher Report.
Oh,
the amount of issues I had with the app, literally from the beginning up until Osprey and Orange Cassidy. I was the entire Mid-Atlantic 4-Way just completely screwed.
How long did you experience that?
That's why I wanted to talk the whole thing the same way. Fucking sucked. Up until the 4-way, same time as Kate. I don't know. And what would suck is, and I heard Kate talking on Sour Graph, so I know she had the same problem. It wouldn't just like cut out completely. You at some points just have sound.
You just audio in a frozen picture, and I was like, "This is great if you love stills."
So, but what was bad about that is that
it happened watching an old timey radio show.
Yeah, I felt like it was a flip book.
But the worst part is it happened to me right as Dax returned. So I didn't get to see it. I went back and watched because I wanted to see how he came out. But like, I was very I would have rather it just froze because it would normally when it freezes it just catches you up. But then it just totally fucking happened. Dax came out. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, their app sucks. How are they the only people who haven't figured it out?
I'll say this. I know Mrs. Money was watching and she didn't report any issues. So maybe it was I'm not saying like maybe it was you guys. Even Asian Joe here in the chat said, surprisingly, I didn't have any issues with Bleacher Report. Maybe it was just an intermittent thing depending on where you were or how you were connected. I honestly don't know. I can tell you that from my house, there were no issues. Asian Joe said he had no issues. I didn't see any chatter, like online about a ton of issues like last time, but it's still something they've got to figure out.
Worse because last time it didn't let you watch at all. So I don't think people were as inclined to bitch this time because it was like you could catch up. Whereas last time
in the chat, it was not only me. I'll say that.
No, I was in the chat. I saw that.
It was awful.
But I'm talking on Twitter. I don't think people were putting it out on Twitter because they were able. You were at least this time. It would be down for 20 seconds and you were right back up, and you'd have a little bit and it'd be down again. Last pay-per-view, it was down.
for the first
couldn't use
full,
it.
like, until the show started, basically the last time. Like, if you were trying to watch the buy-in on Bleacher Report, no bueno, did not work.
I don't know understand how they don't have this
Resolved
fixed.
at this point. Yeah.
Fight like listen, Fight isn't as big of a company as Bleacher Report. Doesn't have the backing behind it. They have no issues.
Yeah, I think your girl's gonna be in Lithuania for the next pay-per-view and paying like $20 for it and watching it on Fight, because I would rather save money and have it work.
Well, we'll get to the card, but I know that unofficially, TK put out a tweet saying thank you to everyone who made the Forbidden Door event a hit with over 1 million in ticket sales, which was kind of known because they sold that out immediately and then just released like extra seats as we got through the whole thing. Plus over 5 million on pay-per-view. We're back Wednesday for Blood and Guts, blah blah blah.
But what about the casual fan, guys? Only 6 million off of one pay-per-view. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, listen,
It's not even our big four.
Yeah.
Listen, I would love to see what the worldwide numbers were because of New Japan and stuff like that. Like they have a following all over.
And that was without Punk, without Danielson.
Yeah.
Without Hiromu, without Ishii, without Omega. Yeah, geez, God, that's probably the most important one that I left out.
Yeah, it's Kenny by God Omega. Kate.
69 me done.
69 me done. So it seemed to be a pretty successful pay-per-view, as Kate said, without a lot of the heavy hitters on both sides. So let's run through it. The buy-in had some really quality matches. Goto and Yoshihashi defeated QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. Lance Archer and Nick Comoroto, I think, were a late ad because we didn't know about it until we got there that was happening. Lance Archer defeated Nick Comoroto. That was a lot of fun. And then Swerve, Strickland, and Keith Lee defeated El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, which was a lot of fun as well.
That match, I do want to pause just to say that for two teams that didn't know each other, I thought that was one of the most well-agented tag matches in a really long time. Like, I thought that was so good. I know that Lee and Swerve are heading toward this breakup, but holy shit, are they fun together. Like, what a blast to watch. The tandem offense that they create is so, so good. And it was nice that they got El Desperado on this card as well. Like, he probably isn't like a New Japan heavy hitter necessarily, but like he's a very consistent worker there who is constantly in the mix of things. So it was really nice that he was on this card. And I just thought this could have been on the main card and I wouldn't have had any qualms about it. Like I thought this was so, so good. And like I said, like I know they're headed toward this breakup, but I'm really enjoying this tag run. And I thought it was such a good use of Lee and Swerve, who are both single stars, but not going to be near a title anytime soon, to put them together in a fun program that they've been in since they both walked in here, I think has just been a really, really good call. They're great.
And they did advance the story with Team Taz after the match too, with Hobbs and Lee in the skybox. So, they were definitely moving that story ahead. So, they used it, which is great. You use this moment in a pay-per-view to continue a story on television. So just a lot of fun there. And to just call out specifically, the whole opening of that match was fantastic with Keith Lee and Kanemaru in the ring. And like they were sizing each other up and doing the feats of strength.
Yes.
And Keith Lee was like holding his hand up and it was like 5 feet higher than Yoshi, and he went and got on the turnbuckles. It was just fantastic. The whole thing was a lot of fun. And then guys, what everybody was tuning into the buy-in for, Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Max Caster versus Yuya, oh my god, Uemura, excuse me, Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight. Well, the ass boys get distracted early by Danhausen and run off leaving Billy Gunn and his maybe favorite son, Max Caster, to get the victory over the other team. So can you just imagine getting dressed, getting set backstage at the curtain? It's your turn. You do the whole intro. You do the whole "What's up, Detroit, Michigan" or whatever. You do the whole thing, and then you get in the ring, video, and you run off and you get paid. I mean,
That's a
what
good day at work.
goddamn night for the Ass Boys.
That's a good day at work. But they also lost their father in the process, really. So,
Well,
kind of a
we'll talk
toss-up.
about that. We'll get to it.
So my was a comment, and it was that song, the Ass Boys song, is fantastic. And if you go watch the YouTube video for it, Danhausen is a big star in that video. Obviously, he says he wrote the lyrics, which wouldn't be shocking. They're not that complicated, but it is awesome. And I do really hope we could talk more tonight or whatever. But I do really hope they have a match with Danhausen at some point where the stipulation is if they lose, they have to use that as their theme because it is just too perfect.
I mean, it will go over. It's already over, so they'd be stupid not to. Right?
Is that a Mikey Ruckus original?
No, I think it's Danhausen's friends.
His own work.
And it's the Ass Boys, Billy Ass and the Ass Boys.
Yeah, it's
the Lord's work, obviously.
it certainly was. It was. Let me see here. It was from 2 minutes to late night. The 2 minutes to late night crew. And the lyrics are fantastic. It's "We're the Ass Boys, Billy Ass and the Ass Boys. It's our last name. We were born with them. We did not choose them. We won't shove them. We will not pick them. Thank you, Danhausen. Who were we fooling? No double dealing. We are not swearing. So many asses, one family tree. We can prove it with the 23andMe. We're the Ass Boys."
Wow.
The Ass Boys.
And that is just one verse. There is more to it. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. But it was fantastic. So it is on YouTube. I feel like I had seen that before this show. I think it had been up online like earlier this year, maybe January or February. But yeah, it was from the crew who does 2 minutes to late night. So if you know what that is, you know, it makes total sense. All right, guys, jumping into the pay-per-view. Our first match of the night was Jericho, Sammy, and Suzuki versus Eddie, Yuta, and Shota Umino. In the end, Sammy gets Yuta with a GTH Fireman's Carry knee strike on the floor. Suzuki plants Kingston with a Gotch pile driver. And Jericho blindsided Umino with a Judas effect for the win. So something I didn't know about this match was it was for the stipulation who gets the man advantage for the Blood and Guts tonight. So listen, I thought this match was a lot of fun. And of course, we know we're building to Blood and Guts, which we'll talk about in a bit here. So I thought this match was great. Suzuki, the pop in the room for Suzuki was incredible. And it was so much fun to be there to see Suzuki. I mean, we had seen Suzuki, I think, once or twice on a Dynamite live, and it's just a whole different feeling in the room when he's there. And these fans just ate it the fuck up. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think, you know, it was hard because I didn't see a ton of this match because of Bleacher Report, but I was like, if this app cuts out when Eddie Kingston and Suzuki eventually are just chopping the shit out of each other, I'm going to be pissed. It did not cut out for that part. Otherwise, I would have demanded a refund. But Suzuki and Eddie just beating the ever-living hell out of each other and loving it was such a fun spot. I also thought Guevara looked great in this. It was nice to see him doing what he does best, because we've seen him doing so much of what he doesn't do best of late over the past few months. So this was really good. I'll save the rest of my comments because I did not like how this pay-per-view ended. I felt like this match should have gone on later. The shenanigans that happened at the end of the show could have been pulled forward from the match with Moxley and Tanahashi. But as far as what they presented to us, I thought this was great. It was a fun way to open up the show for sure. Multi-man matches that are this high quality and violent, you can't really go wrong with. So I thought this was a blast. But Eddie Kingston Partner, he's my guy, and him and Suzuki chopping each other stole the show from me.
Don't worry, Kate. We'll talk about Eddie Kingston later.
You know, Kate, I'm going to stop here. Just let you know, I was with somebody in my group who does not favor Eddie Kingston. I believe the quote that he yelled, he or she,
You
or
were with
they,
all guys,
I
so it was a
can't,
he.
no, I can't speak for their gender fluidity. But I believe the quote was, Eddie, you're a bum, go home.
Was it a certain Magic Man?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to stab your friend then. With a pen.
Kate's like, well, I've got two people. So now
It's
you
not
gotta
one of
stab
them.
two people.
You know what? If Eddie Kingston can set two people on fire with gasoline or attempt to, I can at least do that in his honor.
I just want
So.
you to know. I did not agree.
You better not have, otherwise I'm quitting.
I enjoy Eddie. Wait, I do agree.
Oh, rude. I show up for your birthday. Nobody else does, all right?
Yeah, good point, Schlong. Caitlin. Oh, hi, Kate. Moving on in the card for Forbidden Door, we went to the All-Atlantic Championship 4-way. Pac, Miro, Malachi Black, and Clark Connors fill in for Yoshi. Wait, I don't remember. Ishii, that's right. Sorry. And Pac wound up defeating everybody to be the inaugural All Atlantic champion. Man, I got to say this: very low expectations for Clark Connors. He was great, bumped like a motherfucker for everybody, and got in some good offense. You really felt like towards certain parts of this, you're like, oh my God, is Clark Connors really going to pull this one out? He did not, but I will say this. The whole ending I thought was fantastic. We all had this going one way, and they swerved, I think, every fucking buddy on the planet. But Malachi Black spitting the mist into Miro's face while he had Connors in the game over was fantastic. Pac hit the 450. So man, it was a fantastic match. If you did get cut out for this one, Kate, go back and watch the whole thing. Now I'll say this. Okay, Schlong, I'll get to you in 1 second. I'll say this just so you guys know. I haven't gone back and watched it on TV. So I don't know what they were talking about or, like commentary, or I haven't seen any other angles of everything. So like, I don't know how this played on TV, but I can tell you live in the room, this match went over like crazy.
Okay, so two things. One, you have no idea actually how hard it is to put that sound in a spot and try to properly time it, because it's tough, because I don't want to cut you off, but I don't want you to move on. Like, I want to point out that I'm in there. But second of all, one, I did miss most of this, and it was sad because of the issues with Bleacher Report. And I thought they fixed here, but clearly I was wrong, because I can distinctly remember seeing Dax come back. So my issues must have carried on a little longer. However, it says something to AEW's strength that Pac has been kept strong enough that him winning this title, while it's a huge swerve, didn't feel wrong. Like they've done a good job of keeping guys like him and strong, so that even if they take losses, you don't think they look weak, and you think they always present them as killers and tough guys. So when they swerve and give him the title, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, you don't go, this guy doesn't deserve it. It's like, no, he does. And it's actually the advantage of having a tournament to get to the title, because he's had to have wins to get in there. So you see him on a winning streak rather than just a number one out of nowhere. So that was really just my comment that it was a complete swerve, but it was a good type. It wasn't like, oh man, they swerved us and all of a sudden, Serpentico's winning the belt. And you're like, wait a minute. That just doesn't add up. I mean, I love Serpentico, but he's not winning a title. So like keeping their guys strong, it's a strength.
Poor Serpentico. We'll talk about Serpentico a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, listen, I just hope this means we'll see more of Pac on TV. I don't know if they've really said what's going to happen with this title, but he's got a belt now, right? So he's going to have to defend it. So we'll see how this plays out. But listen, in my opinion, anybody in that match could have held this title. I mean, Clark Connors, let's be serious. But, Pac, Malachi Black, Miro, any one of those guys deserved it. But Pac certainly, I think out of the other two, maybe a little bit more. He's a day one guy with the company, he's had to deal with the COVID stuff and being stuck in the UK. I mean, it's just, in my opinion, he deserves it. Mike Peterson says Pac wasn't the guy I was expecting to win, but I was pretty happy when he did. I think that's how everybody in the room felt. I think everybody thought Miro was taking it, and when everything unfolded, it was like, oh fuck yeah, like Pac is gonna take this. And it was great. I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah, this was about as well put together of a match as you could have had, especially under the circumstances. I had no idea who the hell Clark Connors was. He was so impressive and was worked into this match just perfectly. He was so high energy. He came in like a wrecking ball at certain points. To your point, he sold us a ticket.
Like a wrecking ball.
Thanks, Kate.
I did.
She knew what she was doing.
And that played in my head as I said it, but I was just hoping. I'm sorry. I manifested that for all of us. But he was fantastic. And I mean, it seems like we're headed toward Miro versus House of Black too, which like, holy crap. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't really see a path where Miro didn't have this title, because how does the Redeemer character work if he's not constantly chasing gold, right? Having the Redeemer guy against this kind of pseudo-satanic, sort of supernatural-ish, but not really in a like weird cheesy way thing, is just a home run. And I want to see all of those matches. I want to see Miro and Brody. I want to see Miro and Buddy. I want to see Miro and Malachi, obviously. So that getting set up, his whole head being swallowed in mist was so fantastic. And I loved that we saw Pac like genuinely smile at the end. He's the bastard Pac, but there was a moment, but this is worth going back and checking out. And like when that crowd erupted, when you guys went so crazy for him, he just had a smile on his face. Like, I think kind of like a finally moment, because like he's been great in AEW, but between COVID and injury and travel, it's been a lot of up and down, right?
Yep.
And obviously he came over from WWE where his path was super truncated. So it felt like a very sincere moment after the match. And this does seem like a title that might be traveling. It could go to Japan. It could go to the UK. He could defend it in other places if he wanted to. So to strap it to that guy who not only is based in the UK and works in America and can work in Japan, but a guy who's so versatile and can handle any ring style. If this is going to be a traveling title, what a perfect guy to put it on, because he just has great matches with so many different people. So I think it's a fantastic call. I feel like the stories that unfolded in this, as far as like a four-way goes, where do you get a situation where everybody wins? Like, that's really, really, really hard to do. So I thought this was an incredible match, both from what unfolded in the ring and from what it ultimately accomplished. Like, come on, Miro versus House of Black all day.
Yeah, 100%. I will also say this: in the pre-show, they did a little like interview with Clark Connors, and in that moment, and I'll say to you two, maybe go back and watch it on the buy-in. In that moment, I turned to Joe Walsh and I was like, Clark Connors is the love child of Hangman Adam Page and Owen Hart.
Okay. I saw a lot of the Hangman comparisons.
Uh,
And Owen. Okay.
Take a look at him again. He looks and sounds a little bit like Owen Hart.
Like Owen.
It was creepy.
Interesting.
It was creepy.
Do you think he should be accompanied by someone who is reminiscent of Coco Beware and Frankie?
No.
I was waiting for the Frankie remark.
I mean, always with the goddamn Frankie. Schlong, she thought there was a real place that Frankie's buried. It is an online memorial.
Yeah, because he died in a house fire. Otherwise, there would be.
Okay.
And otherwise, your next road trip would be planned.
Oh my God. If there was a physical resting spot for Frankie the Macaw and you said we're taking a trip, I'd be like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, we would get in the car and go visit Frankie the Macaw because Coco's bird deserves better. And what Matt would have you believe, which is not true, is that there were like 7 different macaws. Just like Jake the Snake had like 100 different snakes. Do you know how many versions of that bird there were? That's not true. That was Coco's bird and he loved him. And rest in peace, Frankie the Macaw. If you had a real
And where are you
grave
getting
fight,
your information from?
The internet, which is never wrong.
Any specific place on the internet?
I don't know. I didn't bookmark it.
Yes, you did.
I mean,
Probably, but like on a different time. That was a year ago. That was a different computer.
I mean, if it was Wikipedia, it makes sense because Wikipedia is the best thing ever. Anyone in the world can write anything they want about any subject.
It was like in a newspaper. Frankie the Macaw death.
Oh boy! All right, moving on. I can't do another 6 hours on Frankie the Macaw.
Yes, you can.
That's back in the archives. That's like day 1 shit for us.
Frankie perished in the fire. Findagrave.com. This is why I thought it was real.
That's why she thought it was real.
Coco Beware. It's also on Reddit, which, as we know, is always correct.
Well,
poor Frankie.
Moving on. Sting, Darby
There's a YouTube video where Coco's talking about it. Oh no.
Oh my God. Are we? I mean,
talk about the pay-per-view.
Are we good on? Are we good on? Are we good on Frankie the Macaw?
No, it's sad, but we can move along.
Okay. Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi against Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. Schlong, were you going to?
I'm doubting. Can Macaws talk?
Yes.
Yeah,
do you want to hear? Do you want to hear something really sad, Kate?
No.
You sure?
Was it Frankie the Macaw's last words?
Yes.
Right,
it was ahead. Let me out. Let me out. The neighbor thought it was a kid.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let's get back to this pay-per-view because this is gonna be an 8-hour show. Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi against the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. For some reason, going into this match, I thought Hikuleo was going to be the partner, but it was El Phantasmo, and I thought El Phantasmo was perfect in this match. The big news
he was El Fantastic.
I thought the biggest thing here, when Sting's music hit and he didn't come out, and then they showed Ryan, they showed fake Sting up in the rafters. I believe he was still
Jeff
there.
Farmer.
I believe he was still there from WCW because I think he had the duster on up there. But I will tell you this. So they flashed him up in the rafters. Those rafters were very fucking high. And then in that moment, I swear I grabbed Joe Walsh sitting next to me and I said, oh God, please. I thought he was going to either be, dropped down to the ring or zip line to the ring. And I was like, please don't let Sting do this. No, it's okay. They was flashed back to the ramp and he just dove off of the top of the ramp or the top of the tunnel onto the bad guys there. So Thank God they didn't let old man
What would have been
Sting
really
zip-
funny is if they showed Sting up there in the rafters, and then they cut to a video of him just taking an elevator down. Doop.
I mean, I would have popped. That was funny. But Sting and Darby and Shingo do wind up getting the win. We don't really have to go into much on this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. And again, like I said, I thought El Phantasmo was a perfect fit for this match, for the type of match that it was. So the room loved seeing Sting. Joe Walsh had never seen Sting, I think, live. So his childhood was perfect on the night. Jericho and Sting both won. So he was good.
Sting just flying like a parrot trying to get out of a house on fire.
Let me out. Let me out. Guys, we went to the Women's World Championship. Thunder Rosa retaining against Toni Storm. This match was way more strong style than I thought it was going to be. I will say this. This match seemed to be the down point in the room. A lot of people seem to go get drinks, go to the bathroom, which is a shame because Thunder Rosa is your champion and Toni Storm is a great wrestler. But again, for me, this sort of reinforced the fact that they're just not doing enough to make people care on TV. Good. Yes, Ryan?
Sorry. I was waiting. I thought you were done, and I didn't want to. I agree. I was going to say it had two problems to me for the crowd in this pay-per-view. It was an amazing match. I'm not knocking the match at all. One was the build sucked because there was no real build. And two, it didn't... And this is something AEW couldn't really help with Stardom not being around. So the first one they're 100% responsible for. This one I'm not going to blame them, which is it didn't fit the theme of the card. Like, it was the only AEW versus AEW straight up, and you kind of knew that Thunder wasn't going to lose. So I just think even if it had a good build, I'm not sure that this was going to be a card where it got a lot of attention because it just didn't fit it. Like if it were I don't know who Stardom's champs are, but if it was Thunder versus Stardom, I think that would have gotten more attention because at least it's the theme.
Well,
this was just kind of like an odd.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, Schlong. Toni Storm does have a history with Stardom. So
does Thunder Rosa.
That's the tie-in, sure. But the other thing, too, in the media scrums, TK had said that they couldn't get anybody to work from Stardom. Either they were booked or they didn't have visas. Now, is that bullshit? I think it's sort of bullshit.
No, women's visas are so different than men's visas, even though they have the same holding company.
Well, I will say Stardom
in
was
America,
running an event.
It's totally different now, Kate. In a post-Roe v. Wade world, it's totally different.
That's true.
I will say Stardom was running a pay-per-view or event or whatever that same weekend, which probably limited the pool that he was trying to get, which might explain. Again, that's the only one I'm that's as much on New Japan as it is anyone for not having women within their own company.
You could send one woman and they could make sure her visa was cleared just like they did all of the men's
but is that
visas for
in
this
fairness,
match.
is that, and I'm going to answer an honest question. I don't care the answer because if you want to, is that a Tony Khan issue or is that a New Japan issue?
Yes. I mean, it feels like a Tony Khan issue because they're the ones that are hosting the event, right?
Okay, that's
but
fair.
I just think it's ludicrous that they own Stardom, and you're saying that the women of this essentially same holding company, their visas couldn't come through, but the men's could. Like a bunch of the men's could, and you couldn't find one woman from Stardom. I don't think they wanted a woman from Stardom, and that's fine. This match was also very short. It could have been longer. Much like Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, the build was medium. This was a better build than Serena, but it wasn't a great build. And I thought the match was very good. I also just think this was the third match on the card, right? Or fourth match. Like, you're working a little bit uphill there. Because this did feel like, as much as I was entertained by a lot of the earlier matches, this did feel like the real show began, in my opinion, at like the tag title matches moving forward. But I thought the match was great. I think Toni Storm has looked really, really good since coming into AEW. I thought Thunder Rosa looked great. Her face paint was awesome. I just wish they gave it more time and maybe put it somewhere else on the card. But to be honest, I didn't even notice that the crowd wasn't that into it because I feel like it was just a sprint. So I didn't feel like the story was one that had to grab the crowd and take them on some roller coaster. This was just kind of like a collision, and I thought it was great and really hard hitting. This was a lot of fun.
You know, Kate, you said tag team, and I went back because I skipped right over it, which is a shame because I wanted to specifically talk about this match. The tag team was actually the second match of the night. I apologize to everybody.
Was it really the second match?
It was the Jericho Appreciation match, and then the tag match, then the All Atlantic, Sting and the Bucks, and then the Women's Championship. So let's just jump back really quick because we have to talk about it.
So that makes sense. Now why my technical difficulties occurred during the tag match and fixing during the 4-man makes sense.
Sorry guys, I meant to talk about it and I just went forward. So
rude, just can't believe it.
I apologize. The winner take all for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships and the IWGP Tag Team Championships. FTR versus United Empire and Roppongi Vice. What a goddamn match. So something that we obviously didn't know in the room, which is I think why I was texting you guys saying what the fuck is happening. We saw Dax go out. And you know, we weren't sure what was going on because we saw him get taken to the back and then Cash fucking carried them like a fucking pro. I mean, God, he just worked so hard after that. And then eventually Dax does come back. FTR does wind up winning. So they now are 7-star FTR, carrying almost all of the belts. I think they're going to get one more. I hope they do.
At least.
So, Ring of Honor Tag Team Champs, IWGP Tag Team Champs, AAA Tag Team Champs, FTR. Dax does come back at the end, all taped up. So what I had said to you guys was, are they saying anything like, is this a work? Like, what is going on? And I think it was sort of unclear as to what was going on. And then he left and came back. And I think it sort of fuels the story of how great FTR, is, right? Now, I think what they had said was that he had separated his shoulder and they got it back in and they taped him up and he went back out because he looked okay when he came back. Like, he didn't look like he was working hurt. Now, I'm sure he was hurt if that is true, but what a match. Like, the story that told, whether they meant to or not, just was fantastic. It adds to the legend, the legend that is FTR. I thought this match was awesome.
I thought this match was great. I think Cash Wheeler did a phenomenal job because from where I was sitting, it felt very much on the fly. Like, I think the way it read to me at home was that Dax Harwood probably has a shoulder injury that sometimes happens where his shoulder falls out and they have to pop it back in, and it's not fun to work with, but it's workable. And so it was something he was familiar with. And Cash Wheeler said, all right, well, now the story of this is I'm going to do my damnedest to not tag out to Trent because this is an FTR thing. Mm-hmm. And he just worked his ass up to the point where, to me, this story read as, oh, God, I just have no choice but to tag in Trent at this point, who looked great. But I felt like Cash Wheeler changed that story on the fly a little bit, and it read perfectly. Like, I thought it was so good. It does, like you're saying, speak to the legend of FTR a lot. And I think we focus so much on how great Dax is, and he deserves it. But sometimes Cash gets a little bit lost in that conversation, and he's just a fucking fantastic wrestler too. Absolutely loved this match. It was a ton of fun. Everybody just I feel like nobody is better at speaking the language of tag team wrestling than FTR. Like, they're just so damn good.
Schlong, I do want to go to you, but I just want to also throw this out there because I haven't said it and I feel like I should. Everybody in this match was great.
Yes.
United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Grado Khan were fantastic. Roppongi Vice was fantastic. FTR. I mean, this was a perfect 3-way, tag team match. And I don't generally like the 3-way tag team matches. And I think going into this, we thought that this was, at least us sitting there, I think for some reason we thought that they were, it was a tornado style tag match. So when they started it as, a regular 3-way, we were kind of like, oh, okay, like this is how it's going to go. So I just felt like I needed to explicitly say that, like, everybody in this match, in my opinion, was
Crushed
top
it.
notch. Schlong, your thoughts?
So, couple like I'm torn on was it a work? Was it? I mean, he says he popped out a pop back in. I don't want to ever accuse anyone. Well, see, the problem with wrestling is they're lying as part of their job. So like, it's not like I want to be like, I don't know how his shoulder is. I had a friend who had that, and he did seem to be able to do things after he got it back in. I know with like a knee, like a kneecap, if it goes out, when you pop it back in, there's so much you can probably do stuff, but there's so much swelling and stuff that it really physically limits you, and he didn't look limited at all. I want it to be real though, because it means that Cash did come up with that story on the fly, because it was such a well-told story. But part of me goes, they didn't make a tornado, and that was such a good story. How could you make that up? Like, it seems like, but I'm gonna believe, like, I'm gonna be that little kid believing in Santa, that it was real, and he made that up on the fly, because that was just some of the best tag in-ring storytelling I've seen in a while. And the same what Kay was saying with that whole, like, I don't want to tag out, but I have no choice. If I don't tag out, I'm gonna lose.
The only reason that I have any even hint of confidence that I think it was real was because the microphones, which this is not AEW strong suit, were picking up people that would not in kayfabe be checking in on him so much. Like, there were camera guys making sure he was all right and stuff. Like, it was a lot of the floor crew checking in, which he could have been working them too, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really wincing, and because those injuries are something that feel familiar, I could see them being able to change the story on the fly. But either way, to Ant's point, everybody in this was picture perfect. And by the way, that Tour of the Islands finisher that Jeff Cobb does is one of the coolest finishers
Awesome.
in all of wrestling, and especially for big guys. Like, I think that's cooler than the F5. I think like, I love that finisher, but this was as good of a tag match as you'll ever see.
I love Jeff Cobb as a wrestler, and I wish that people got to see more of him on US television, because he's such a great wrestler, in my opinion. But yeah, this was one of my matches of the night. Mike Peterson says this was my match of the night. Hard to argue, Mike. It's up there. But we're gonna jump back to the timeline, and this brings us to the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which was Ospreay against Orange Cassidy. In my opinion, this was the match of the night. Now, it's very hard to, again, there were a lot of good matches on this card. That tag match was fantastic. It's very possible to go 1-2 with either one of these, but this match, for people who thought Orange Cassidy is nothing but a gimmick and can't wrestle, there should be no fucking, there should be no way you think that anymore. I mean, you can't just get away with hanging like in a comedy gimmick with Will Ospreay. You got to be able to wrestle. And TK put Orange Cassidy in this match to show you the confidence that they have in him and that he can hang. And for the love of God, this match showed everything. I mean, Ospreay retained, which I don't think anybody thought Cassidy was going to win this belt. And, Juice Robinson was there, and there was sorry, Juice wasn't there for this one. Sorry, I'm getting out of order here. But this was a fantastic match. Ospreay looked great. Cassidy looked great. I'll say this: when this match was over, Joe Walsh stood up and said, "I think I'm going home. You can't do better than this." And he walked down. He went to like get a drink or go to the bathroom, but we legitimately for a minute was like, he left. Like he's really gone. Like that's the end. What a fantastic match. I mean, it's, it was great. After the match, Ospreay and Aussie Open tried to get to Cassidy. Roppongi Vice made the save, and then we get the big surprise in the night, and Shibata arrived to basically kick ass, showdown with Ospreay, and then Cassidy put his glasses on him and posed with the thumbs up. So huge things happening here with Shibata coming back. The crowd lost it for that. Like, what an amazing match, and after kind of effects of this match. Did it play well on TV, guys, when Shibata came out? Because it was fucking loud in the room. Yes, Schlong.
Sorry, I have to honor Orange Cassidy. I knew who Shibata was because we've been messing with Matt, but you wouldn't have to know who he was to know that was a big deal. Like that was they did a really good job of like when it came out, the wrestlers just selling it, commentary being like, holy shit, having what is it? Blanking on his name.
Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, having Kevin Kelly on commentary was such a smart move. But even still, like Excalibur, Taz, like they are so good anyway, and they know who everyone is. But I just want to say, as an Orange Cassidy mark, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Orange Cassidy. This is what I always say, that people forget he can go at the highest level. He understood that because of his size, he couldn't just be a straight wrestler. Like it would struggle. So he got a gimmick that works perfectly. And when he wrestles guys who understand it, it's so much better. And to Ospreay's credit, Ospreay understood it. He always looked angry. He always looked pissed off. Felt like he was getting insulted. And that's the whole gimmick, is that everyone, when he did that like a Superman style pose against Ospreay, like it was just so good. This is why they put Orange Cassidy in a feud against Jericho and had him win. This is why they put him in a title match. Like this is the stuff he can do. I think people sometimes forget because his biggest issue is it seems to be spread out. Like his big matches seem to be spread out. He had Pac, and then it was a while, and then he had Jericho, and then it was a while, and then he had his title match, and then it was a while. It's like if they gave him a bit more building on feuds, I think people would remember, oh yeah, he's very, very good.
I think I agree with everything you guys have said. I don't want to underestimate how great Kevin Kelly was, and I don't want to underestimate how nice it was, and I hate to say it, but not hearing JR try and pronounce Japanese wrestlers' names for like 6 hours. It was refreshing to not have him on commentary. I thought bringing him out for special matches, which they seem to be leaning more into, which we'll get into about tonight as well. I feel like that's a great direction to go with JR because it makes those matches feel important too. So that is fantastic. This was my match of the night. I thought it was a ton of fun. The only criticism that's out there that I usually agree with Orange Cassidy is that it can get a little formulaic. It's a little bit, I got under your skin with my gimmick, and now I turn on the gas, right? But like this match was so different than that. This was him leaning into that at opportune moments and weaving his antics in rather than like antics up front. Turns out I can go. Pretty cool. And Ospreay just treating him like a fly that he couldn't swat out of the air. Like I always use the comparison of the Angels had a leadoff hitter named David Eckstein, and he would just foul off like 17 pitches and he would never go away. And that's like, there's some wrestlers that give me that vibe. But I thought this was a fantastic match. I also don't want to underestimate how much of a perfect foil Will Ospreay was in this match. He's so skilled in the ring. He's a great heel, and he was there with Orange Cassidy the whole way. Like he was exactly as annoyed as he should have been the entire match. And then the sunglasses on Shibata after, for anybody who's listening that doesn't know, Shibata is a New Japan legend who had to retire because of a brain bleed and returned at the past Wrestle Kingdom where he was supposed to work a light match, went into business for himself and worked pretty much a regular match. And yeah, he came out and was wearing Orange Cassidy sunglasses. How do you not love pro wrestling? Like, what a blast. So this was my match of the night. I thought it was great. And I think it was also very smart to have this match with Orange Cassidy coming off injury too. I think it's really important to capitalize on the momentum that comes from that.
Absolutely. I mean, everything here was perfect. And then when you think it's got to slow down, they go to Zack Sabre Jr. versus the mystery opponent, which everybody had a lot of thoughts. And even day of, everybody out there is working, the Twitters and all them things,
Gargano.
Johnny Gargano and Jonathan Gresham, everybody's working it. And it winds up being Claudio Castagnoli, which is just, I think, a fantastic signing for the company. He's going to do a lot. He fits in perfect with the Blackpool Combat Club. And I think that that this match actually played out perfectly. The way that Claudio came in and immediately hits a neutralizer, a European uppercut, and the neutralizer for a quick pin that got kicked out of, was the best way to start this match. You are just building on all of the energy that just happened, and then things slow down a little bit, and the fans, kind of cool off, and then they built it back up at the right time, right at the end. The fan wanted the swing. Eventually we get the swing. He tried it like twice, wouldn't happen. Then we get it for a little bit. So I thought that this match was actually, at first where I was like, how are they putting their, like, it's going to die? It was perfect. They started hot, cooled off, and then built it back up at the end. Claudio did win. I don't think that hurts Zack Sabre Jr., and Claudio can't lose his pay-per-view debut. So I thought that this was a fun match, a great lead into, build excitement for Blood and Guts, which we'll talk about, I promise you. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with anything here. I at first I was like, oh my God, this is going to kill this, but it actually wound up for me playing really well. And, the crowd was hot for it. So yes, Schlong.
I just want to, well, one, I'm with you 100% on the way they did the match. I actually did believe they were going to have him win in like 10 seconds. And I was kind of like, how can you do this to Zack Sabre Jr.? Like, I felt like that was almost wrong.
I do want to
better.
I do want to say this, and then I'll let you go back. But I literally at that moment was like, oh my God, this is it. And if it happened, it would have been sort of amazing. But they couldn't do that because you had built Zack Sabre Jr. showing up so much that you can't just do a quick in and out squash like that. But if it did happen, Schlong, that room would have exploded. I guarantee you.
And they're not in the same company. Like, you can't go back and pay that off at a later time.
Yeah, that Kate just beat me to it. Like, you can do that to an AEW guy. You can't do that to a New Japan, because now all of a sudden. But actually, to me, it makes Zack Sabre Jr. made him look good, because like he was shocked, he almost lost in the beginning, and he recovered, and he ended up losing. But like, he reformulated a plan almost on the fly. Like, if there's and I think he's good enough to tell this story, verbally and all that he can go out and be like, yeah, I lost, but like, I didn't know who I was facing. I built my plan on the fly and still almost won. Like,
And I think it sort of gets lost a little bit how good Zack Sabre Jr. actually looked in this match. Like, I think everybody talks about the great surprise in Claudio, and he gets the win and the hot start. But to your point, Schlong, Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled a really good match.
And he wrestled a guy who wrestles completely different than Danielson. So again, something he can sell and be like, I trained for Danielson. I was mentally prepared, and I knew he wasn't going to be there, but I assumed his replacement would be like him. And no, you got someone who's all strength. Fuck you, Kate. And
opponent, yeah. No, I was agreeing with you. It was a completely different opponent. It was a different opponent.
The opponent matters.
The opponent does matter. Thank you, Ant.
Go home.
Someday, right to the moon.
To the moon.
I'll just add that this match, I was so excited for Claudio. And when I watched this match, I was like, I need to seek out more Zack Sabre Jr. matches because I actually thought that like he was kind of the star here. I loved the story that they snapped together of him not letting Claudio get the swing on. Like that was so perfect. That's the huge thing that the crowd wants to see. The heel's not going to let him do that. Thought that was so much fun. That sharpshooter or scorpion deathlock into the heel hook sequence was insane. And the European clutch that he put on Claudio was fantastic. But I just was so impressed that they were able to tell a really fun story when the crux of the story was that he didn't know who was coming out. And he was like, I'm still not going to let this guy get the swing on. Like, that's pretty damn good professional wrestling in my estimation. But knew Zack Sabre Jr. was great. Loved him in the Cruiserweight Classic stuff they did in NXT. But like this, I was like, thanks for the reminder of how good this guy is. Because I definitely want to seek out more of those. Was so excited it was Claudio. I also loved him posing with the cameraman that everybody thought was him. I don't know if you knew that, Ant, but he like took a moment to pause with the guy that was like sort of built like him that people were like, did Claudio already make his debut? So that was a fun little moment to have there too. But the perfect fit for Blackpool Combat Club and Blood and Guts.
Yeah, 2 quick follow-ups on that as well. One, his theme is awesome. His music is great. Yes. And 2, well, actually 3 things. 2, I prefer him in like the long pants dealie that he has versus the trunks that he used to wear. I just think he looks better. And the third and final thing was, I know like people talk about, oh, AEW keeps signing people. The injuries are why you have to go out and sign these people because you're never sure who's going to go down. And so you either could be in a position where you have no one worth wrestling, or you have a full roster that at times is going to feel bloated, but often half of them are going to be out for one reason or another, and you just have to rotate, and they're finally getting good at that. So, not good, but like, because I fucking hate you guys. And,
what? You have to rotate talent.
You do have to rotate, especially with Ring of Honor coming up. They're going to have to rotate between rosters.
Well, I want to know what they're doing with that. They got to make. Hopefully, they settle the TV, and
we'll talk about Ring of Honor.
Fluid like water right now. You know, we gotta lock it in.
Water.
Yeah.
You're so lucky I cannot punch through a screen.
Oh fuck! I had a point here. Schlong, you probably will have an argument with somebody in my house about the tights versus the long shorts. Just saying.
For Cesaro or Claudio?
Yeah. Yes.
See, I'm not a big trunks guy.
Well,
there are some women
in my house
who don't mind seeing someone with Claudio's physique and less clothing than more clothing. There are some people that feel that way.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the visual appeal. I'm talking as like a wrestling attire. Like I always thought like trunks made weird wrestling attire because yes, you need tight clothing because but like you're always a half a centimeter away from revealing a hell of a lot of yourself.
Again, some people don't mind that.
Yeah. Also, because I don't want to forget, great sign on Dynamite tonight. And it was very clear when they were when they were in Blood and Guts, it was Claudio has sausage nips. What a great sign. Also, I was told, and I saw it in the crowd after it was pointed out to me. I received a text about a great sign during the pay-per-view that said, "Get well soon," and then it was a whole list of all the injured wrestlers on the roster.
I heard that too.
Fantastic. Anyway, let's move on. We're almost to the end of this card. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship 4-way, and this is something we need to talk about. Jay White retained against Okada, Hangman Page, and Adam Cole. So let's just sort of get to the end here. The Switchblade wins by pinning Adam Cole. Adam Cole, in an exchange with Okada, had his head fucking knocked off. And Jay White gets the pin on Cole. Now listen, from a storyline perspective, I think this is fantastic because this is going to play out. Where the story is, Jay White wasn't going to face his buddy because he wasn't up to par, and now he's able to get the pin on him, but clearly Adam Cole was fucking out. And it looked like he tried to kick out, but he couldn't get out, and looks like Jay White kind of held him down. In my opinion, on the replay that we saw, on the screens there, it became apparent afterwards that maybe this match ended sooner. Like it was going to end this way, but Jay White took him home because he noticed something was up here. Also, something that I feel about this match, and I feel like a lot of people feel this way, is like Okada barely showed up, and it's not his fault. I think it's just a crowded, in my opinion, it's a crowded match, right? Like Okada really didn't seem to do that much that made a difference in this match besides knock Cole's head off. And I think one of the shining stars of this match was Hangman Adam Page. I mean, he really worked his ass off. So this whole thing felt clunky. I was texting you guys during this. The feeling in the arena was confusion. People were booing, but I think it was at the fact that it was Jay White winning, not at kind of the way things played out. But it was definitely, you can tell there was a lot of confusion sort of happening in the room at that moment. So it just seemed weird. After the match too, the Bucks and Kyle O'Reilly come down. They pass White on the ramp. They have some words with White. Switchblade ignores them, and then Cole was getting medical attention. The Bucks kind of stared down Hangman Adam Page, and O'Reilly called them to focus on Cole. So it was just a little confusing live there. Now again, I have to go back and watch it to see what they were doing on TV, but do I hate the way this ended, like the story? No, but it was definitely, to me, a rushed and confusing finish when you're there live with no context.
Blah, blah.
This fucking guy.
Schlong,
like, because I'm not gobbling like a turkey, I can never go first. Go ahead, Ryan.
Go first. I just wanted to say that I had a comment. That was all it was.
Right. No. Go ahead, Pumpkin Patch. You just go right ahead. I'll go back in the kitchen like I'm supposed to.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to just do this for a second.
So that's what I thought.
She doesn't realize her mic was unmuted and we could tell just mouthing.
Oh, man.
I was pulling a Matt from Monday night. I'm just going to duck out and let you guys go ahead.
I was honestly just going to say that it was a rushed and confusing ending at home.
What I was going to say about this.
What happened upon a second look was that I think Okada, to your point, I think he was going to move into a big offensive sequence here, and that it got cut short because it looked like, and credit to my post-show host at Fightful for this, because he knew the exact sequence they were trying to lay out that they did not get to. And then I was like, oh yeah, Okada drop kicks aren't like cute. They're very, very violent. And Adam Cole took a really big one to the head. And then when he went to get that landslide, Adam Cole was like, nope, we're ducking out of the way of this. And then usually what Okada would do is go and put his finisher on there. And then Jay White would have maybe been sneaky and come in at that point. Or I think Okada was going to get more offense in just in general. Like someone would come break up that pin and we would see more from Okada. But that is not at all what happened. The dropkick concussed Cole. He got out of the way. And they went home. So it's a shame. I agree with you that Hangman was absolutely the star of this match. It was really fun to see him that way. If you ask Matt when he bothers to show up, he will tell you that like Fatal 4-Ways are not New Japan's strength in general. So it wasn't like as surprising to him, but this match did fall flat for me. I again had more issues with Bleacher Report at this point, so it was hard to discern what was frustrating. But that finish really kind of like put a damper on things, and I think messed with not only the ending of the match, but like what was going to proceed after that. I think you were going to see Okada get his licks in there.
I will say this. Joe Walsh said that he feels Jay White MVP of the night, keeping Cole safe. He also said he hated it live, but thinking about it after the fact totally made sense. And yeah, like they're live. I can tell you, the end of that match was confusing for everybody there live. And to your point, Kate, I think it certainly affected the start of the next match, which was the championship. We'll get there. in a moment, but it just certainly seemed to suck the air out of the room. The other thing that sucked the air out of the room during the main event was there was a fight in the crowd, and that video made its way around. I think TMZ Sports had it, but a bunch of people, there was a fight in the crowd, and then security started to take them out, and the guy got loose and started to fight with security. So that sort of affected everything for the main event. But I know that for a portion of the start of the main event, I was even on the phone trying to figure out what the fuck happened during the prior match. So I know if I was, other people were certainly doing the same thing and preoccupied with a fight.
Yeah, you're a trendsetter. So if you're going to do something, everybody else is going to.
Well, I'm setting the trend. Thank you. Other people are following.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm agreeing.
So we did get the interim world championship, Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Moxley defeats Tanahashi to win the title. I think that's the way it needed to go. I think if they did want to give it to Tanahashi, it's a harder story to sell and not have your belt on television, week after week. So I think it's the right move. I didn't have a problem with it. Afterwards, though, the melee that ensued with the groups for Blood and Guts, that was, what was a little confusing. Going home on a pay-per-view like you would on television was certainly not the way I would have gone. However, in retrospect, I feel like they were filling a lot of time because the prior match was probably supposed to go a little bit longer and maybe something was supposed to happen after that. So,
God forbid we don't have a 47-hour AEW pay-per-view and we just leave time.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think you took another moment to get Claudio on TV, right? Do the swing and all that kind of stuff, but it certainly, I would have liked to see, just Moxley and Tanahashi in the ring, or even a moment where Tony Khan and the New Japan, brass come down and maybe everybody's in the ring kind of like, we did it, and kind of a celebration of all sides. Not the way they went. It is what it is at this point. We led into tonight, but I thought that this match was really good, and it showed you why Tanahashi's the ace, right? Because he's just going to put on a quality match. Now, is he the same guy he was 10, 20 years ago?
No, that guy had knees.
That's right.
This guy does not have knees anymore.
But he can still go. And the fact that Moxley can go with him at the level that Tanahashi can go, and maybe not, Moxley doesn't kick it up another gear, I think that speaks as well as to what a great in-ring wrestler, Moxley is. I did also, to get your guys' take on it, I'd also like your thoughts on the blood, because it seemed like a lot of people had issue with the blood. I didn't have a problem with it, but a lot of people were like, how does him getting kicked in the face, cut him open like that? Like, I get it, but, it is what it is. Go ahead, Schlong.
So I obviously, sometimes you go and Mox, you're like, all right,
you didn't even make the fucking sound.
Last time I made it, no one wanted my attention. So
yes, Kate, you did it. You made the sound.
Thank you. Hi, yes.
So as I was saying, last time
she can't even bring herself back in.
That's the whole thing. She doesn't have that power.
No, share your thoughts. We need them. Take us down the road of this final match, Schlong.
Perhaps the rabbit hole.
Yeah, take us down the rabbit hole of this main event. I sounded British. Go ahead. I sounded like William Regal.
You did. You left South Jersey, Philly, and right over to England.
Thank you, Gal.
No, my point being is that you get kicked in the head, you can get cut. Just if there's something sharp on a boot or a lace or just any angle can cut you open. I mean, that's the reason in like boxing fights and stuff, a lot of times like bare knuckles worse than gloved, because not only does it hurt the person's hand, obviously, but the knuckles, if they catch angles on your forehead, can just shred you.
Yeah, I think afterwards they said they sort of butted heads, and that's sort of what cut him open. They said he got it the hard way. I think he zipped himself, but I have to go back and watch it.
He zipped himself.
Getting kicked to the head doesn't make you bleed like a stuck pig. Like it'll cut you open, but not like that. Yeah. Match was great. Felt a little flat, but I think to your point, that was a little bit to the sequence of events. And no like particular spots to call out. It was really good from bell to bell. I didn't need him to blade, but they're gonna blade. Like it's an AEW pay-per-view. If they don't blade at least once, some sort of quota is not being met. And I hated the antics after. You just went home this way on Rampage. You just went home this way on Dynamite. Like the moment is you're crowning a new champion. The moment shouldn't be a go home to your AEW episode of television. And I appreciate that they were setting up tension between Claudio and Eddie, but like
Kate, your favorite phrase, Yang Wars.
Yang Wars. Yeah, I didn't need it 3 AEW TV events in a row. Like that was overkill. And I also just didn't think Blood and Guts needed it at all. It was already pretty well set up before this. It just felt like the go home thing should be Moxley winning the world title, interim or not, in front of a crowd, which he wasn't able to do. And that's the moment. Like you're supposed to close with the title in the main event, right? So I just felt like it was super unnecessary. But I think they also wanted to give Claudio another moment in front of that crowd, which that I'll never argue with because that guy deserves it. But I just, especially after the match we saw tonight, I was like, they did not need that ending. But
well, it was a fun pay-per-view. It was a fun live experience, and just something to clue you guys in on before the show started, the buy-in or anything like that. TK came out and did his, "Are you guys ready for a fun night?" And he introduced -1, but he did not come out. And then when the show went off the air, Tony Khan did come back out and did introduce -1. He was there. He gave -1 a live mic, and he said, he sort of popped everybody in the ring. He said, let's give it up for Eddie Kingston and John Moxley, and blah, blah, blah. And then Mox took the mic and, talked to the crowd. He said, you're so lucky to get to see a bunch of these, Japanese legends in the ring. He made mention too. He's like, I think I'm concussed and blah, blah, blah. He said it in the media scrum too. He's fine. Apparently he wrestled tonight. And it was just something he was saying, I guess, to be funny. But there wasn't really much else that happened, no other antics. And then they also, he gave Tanahashi his praise. He, bowed to him and they bowed to each other. And it was a nice moment. Would have been nice to be on television, but the crowd got it to go home. So a fun pay-per-view. It led into Blood and Guts, and we're going to discuss that. We are going to take a short break because some people probably need to pee, maybe want to stretch their legs. We need to let you guys know about some of the other shows on the Shining Wizards Network. We're not going to do the whole gimmick tonight. Kate, I know you're like, wait a minute, what? But let's just do it. We're going to play some words.
Literally the only reason I show up.
I know. I'm sorry. We're going to play some words.
Yes, we're happy that we're not doing it anymore.
Take a minute, get a drink, run to the bathroom. We'll be back in a moment here on the Mark Order Podcast.
Everyone knows a lot of things can change in the span of 10 years. But when it comes to professional wrestling podcasting, one thing is still guaranteed. The Shining Wizards is the only place to get all the latest wrestling news, interviews with the greatest guests, and of course, tons of laughs in discussing the world of wrestling. The show is still available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. East on rantdmradio.com and Rant Entertainment Media on the TuneIn app. And it's still available on all podcasting platforms. To check us out, head over to shiningwizards.com, where it's still wrestling talk and talk about wrestling.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
Horns up, everyone. One on the Shining Wizards Network. Be sure every Friday to check out Radioactive Metal. Radioactive Metal is one of the longest running podcasts on the interweb. And every week we bring you a fist full of metal, including interviews with all your favorite artists, discuss all the metal news, and feature the best tunes on the air today. So grab a Lemmy, join your cool Uncle Snowy and co-host Aaron in the pit.
Your recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment broadcasting from the current to the way back. Join the impact player Phil Brea and the Portuguese man of war Choppy for the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast. Live every week on rantemradio.com. Get all our episodes over at iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Audio Boom, Google Play, ShiningWizardsNetwork.com, and TurnbuckleThrowbacks.com.
Are you tired of being told what to think and believe by Hollywood elites and politicians who just don't care about you?
Tired of not getting the truth when you watch the news?
Tired of trying to figure out what pronoun to use?
Tired of mob mentality when all you want to do is think for yourself and make up your own mind?
That's where we come in. This is Justin
and Vince,
your host of Inconclusive Breakdown.
We are a weekly anti-PC podcast bringing you entertainment and current event news without any spin.
If you want to truly stay informed on what's going on in the world, then give us a listen every Sunday, anywhere you get podcasts, at least till Zuckerberg and Twitter Jack deplatform us.
And as always, we're proud members of the Shining Wizards Network.
Tired of the PC police telling you what you can and cannot say? Want a show that travels back to the 80s and 90s, where the badass hosts have beaten down cancel culture on 3 separate occasions and carried on to gloat about it? Since 2013, The Midnight Jury is that show. Travel back to the malls and arcades, pop in your VHS, and join us where the 80s and 90s return from the dead. Conan, tell them where to find us.
WLWstudios.com, home of the Midnight Jury podcast, hosted by Midnight Mike and Calvin Brody.
Also available on all major podcast platforms via the Shining Wizards Network, and join in the conversation on Twitter at Midnight Jury.
What's up, wrestling fans? You want something awesome? Check out Wrestling Night in Canada here on the Shining Wizards Network. We're 3 Canadian metalheads uniting for the love of pro wrestling. Every episode we go over all the latest news and special events with the odd unique interview as well. So grab a cold one and check out Wrestling Night in Canada, eh?
All right, we're back here on the Mark Order podcast, and we're going to move on, but I do want to tell you, be sure to follow at Mark Order Pod on all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. If you want to see any of the photos from the road trip out to Chicago, certainly check out Instagram, and TikTok has some videos up. But more importantly, head there, hit the link tree, and request some of these free Mark Order podcast stickers. All you got to do is click the button, give us your name, your mailing address, and the country you live in, and we'll send them out pretty quickly. I do have to admit, I know there's somebody who sent their name and address. I got delayed last week with the travel and work and all that, so my apologies. Stickers are on the way. I don't remember who it was. But stickers are coming. They'll be in the mail tomorrow. I'm usually.
Did they even pay their $4.99 shipping fee?
Kate, stop with the fake news. I'm gonna call the PC police on you.
Please don't anything but that. I don't even know what pronoun to use. The pronoun. Schlong is muted and he doesn't realize it.
amazing. That's fantastic.
I didn't mute myself. Wow.
I didn't. I really didn't.
I wish I had a soundboard because I wanted the Law and Order sound when she said the PC police are coming after me. So
Well,
here's
I
dun dun.
wish I was a little bit taller. I wish
I was a baller.
Listen, Rob Humphrey, stickers are free. And Mike Peterson, no shipping fees. We'll send them
$4.99. It's
stop it.
I
They're
know.
free.
Okay, I know. In the domestic United States,
No,
that's the
worldwide.
case.
I will say
Worldwide.
this: we handed out
It
some
is worldwide?
stickers. No, we handed out some stickers in on Navy Pier. Met some a lot of people out at Navy Pier before the pay-per-view in the wrestling gear, going to the show. Handed out some stickers, so maybe some newbies checking us out.
We love that.
But listen, a lot of marks out there, and we're glad that you're part of the mark order if you are listening along. So get
We're
your free
not
stickers.
marks.
No, we are the ones who keep
Okay.
order
I get confused.
of the marks.
Yeah.
Guys, let's take a look at the rankings really quick because there are some updates to the graphics. As you can see, we have a quad box, folks. Quad box for the men's division. World champion CM Punk. Interim champ John Moxley. Our All-Atlantic champ Pac. And TNT champion Scorpio Sky. Number 1, Wardlow. 2, Hangman Page. 3, Jay Lethal. 4, Lance Archer jumping up. And 5, Powerhouse Will Hobbs. In the women's division, Thunder Rose is our champ. TABS champ is Jade Cargill. 1, Nyla Rose. 2, Stat. 3, Tony Storm. 4, Deeb. And 5, Britt Baker hanging around. And in the tag division, the Young Bucks, number 1, FTR. 2, Hobbs and Starks. 3, Keith Lee and Swerve. 4, Reynolds and Silver. Interesting. And 5, the Ass Boys.
It's the Ass Boys. Billy Gas and the Ass Boys. Dun-dun-dun.
Who could possibly give a shit?
I don't understand the tag division, but here's one thing I do understand. FTR is number 1. Let's get those AEW belts onto FTR.
Yes, please.
What about the Ass Boys?
No.
Billy Ass and the Ass Boys.
No. We're not gonna do that.
No.
All right, guys, let us talk about Blood and Guts edition of Dynamite. And this should be, believe it or not, quick because 1 hour of the show was Blood and Guts.
Correct.
But it was a fun show overall. The first hour was good as well. We lead off the night with Ethan Page versus Orange Cassidy, a match I don't think anybody thought they needed, but was very enjoyable to see. Lambert did cut a promo, before this match. And then he did say that the Best Friends don't have valid managerial licenses to be at ringside. And Bryce Remsburg does reluctantly throw them out before the match does start. So it was nice to see. Yes.
Sorry, and really specific to what you were saying right there.
Mm-hmm.
In his promo, did he also come out pro-election fraud conspiracy?
I'm going to be honest with you, Schlong. I missed the first part of his promo as I was coming back into the house with some sushi takeout.
I'm pretty sure he said something like, "We like to follow the rules unless it's an election."
Oh, I don't know. He could be.
I could be wrong. I could have heard that completely wrong, but it just felt like, Jesus, of all the things you're gonna try to use for heat.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a good
I'll still
one.
take it over him calling Tay Conti a whore. So
very true. But it was good seeing sexy Chucky T for a second.
Yeah, it was, and they had great outfits.
Absolutely.
So, does that mean, I guess, Roppongi Vice was really for Forbidden Door? Now that that's passed, we're gonna go back to best friends.
I don't know what Chucky T's story was. He hadn't been around for a while. I don't know if he was hurt or or
he was
what.
injured for a little bit. Yeah.
All right, so maybe he's now back, and they're gonna start this up again, but. The other news of the night is that Orange Cassidy has new music now. He has
old music.
That's right.
Music.
Whoa.
Excuse me.
Kate was drinking during the break.
I was not, but I did have seltzer today. But that was like a hiccup and a burp at the same time, and it really hurt.
Kate's
That's
a hiccup
actually why I
drunk.
laughed, because it wasn't so much as a burp. It was like your throat just sounded like something
bad.
exploded.
Schlong, that means Kate is a cartoon drunk and she hiccups when she's drunk.
That's not a
You see Buster come in like one of those dogs with the keg around its neck.
Yeah, like a Saint Bernard in the Alps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nah, I'm fine. It's totally good.
Oh man.
I'm totally fine. Let's suck
Also-
out guts of blood.
Guys, I want to point something out that's happening in our chat that I'm actually very proud of for them. So Asian Joe said, "Scissor me, Mikey P." Mike Peterson, scissor. Asian Joe, scissor.
Oh,
I'm actually pretty proud that they figured that out.
friendship.
Our chat
that's good.
bringing scissors together.
They are.
Scissor me, daddy ass. So
Night, Rob.
what?
Rob's
Rob,
going
have
to
bed.
bed.
Oh.
We're tucking him in.
Yeah. Good night.
Sweetheart,
Go to
good
bed.
night.
All right. So Ethan Page, Orange Cassidy, cutting to the end here. Orange Cassidy does win by pinfall. He hits the orange punch twice, and then after failing to hit a body slam a few times on Ethan Page during this match, he does hit it. That is technically his winning move. The body slam wins it for Orange Cassidy. Best friends come back out and they celebrate. We get a pose. So nice to see them. So yes, Orange Cassidy is using Jane again by Jefferson Starship. So I guess they did secure 100% of the rights by tonight, which is nice. Fun match, guys. And again, like something I didn't think I needed to see, but a lot of fun. And Ethan Page just shows me I want to see more Ethan Page on television.
Yes. So I actually liked Dan Lambert making a decent point that two people are acting as managers without managerial licenses. That is like a good heel managerial thing to do. That was fun. I also loved Orange Cassidy just doing the muscles in this match. I got a huge kick out of that. And I actually surprisingly liked the orange juice distraction. That's not normally my shit, but I felt like that was really, really well done because Ethan Page almost took out Lambert, which I thought was fun. And I felt like maybe they were heading toward the two of them splintering a little bit. Like if we're starting to sow seeds for that, I would be a very happy gal. But this match was a really, really fun opener. I actually saw these two at GCW like 2.5 years ago, pre-pandemic. So over 3 years ago, I guess. And Ethan Page was at Impact on the time and yelled at the audience and said, "Do you know who I am? I wrestle on Twitch. How dare you?" So this was a fun rematch to see done in AEW. This was a great way to open the show, especially because we knew this episode was all about blood and guts. Like, we didn't need a match with huge stakes. This was a great way to kick things off.
Schlong, anything you want to add about this match?
Just I really like OC Orange Cassidy blocking Ethan's finisher by putting his hands in the pockets.
Oh yeah,
such a clever use of the pockets because you do have to break your arms out. So it was like it was logical but also fun. I'm like, that's again, Kate said it about his match with Ospreay, and also using his gimmick but in new ways is what he needs to do. And it seems like at least the last two matches he's done that. And if he continues to do that, he's really setting himself up for one hell of a run.
I also enjoyed Orange Cassidy being put up in a suplex and taking it with his hands in his pocket. That was a lot of fun. If you didn't catch that, go back and watch it. That was very fun. He's up and Ethan Page has him and his hands are in his pocket. Very fun. Guys, we do get an interview on the stage with Shivani and Christian Cage, and Cage says that management asked him to apologize for the insensitive remarks he made about Jungle Boy's family last week, and he says he's never apologized for anything before, and he's sorry that Jack's entire family isn't dead, and had to see him end in the ring in 2 weeks ago on Dynamite. He did say, well, everybody except his mom, and then he threw up the call me sign. And then he starts to run Detroit down. And then he said, I said I wanted a match, but I didn't say I wanted it for me. And that's when some evil music hits. Then we hear some dinosaurs and pyro. And unfortunately, somebody in this house is going to be very upset because Luchasaurus comes out in new gear, a new gray mask, no more green. He is an evil wrestling dinosaur now. And unfortunately, he is going up against Serpentico. He does hit a headbutt, and then things get much, much worse. Luchasaurus wins by submission with a cutthroat STF. They said it was like a snare trap with a nerve hold. So he does get the win, and then post-match he attacks Serpentico some more. So unfortunately, Serpentico is dead, and we now have evil Luchasaurus. So clearly the Jungle Boy and the dinosaur are no longer a thing. And I'm not sure what to think about it. It's a little upsetting because I've got a lot of Luchasaurus shit in this house that's green.
I fucking love it. I love that he comes out in black. Like, it's such a stupid heel thing, like, to be like, fuck you, Kate, that I'm gonna be heel, so I come. You love it too, that he decided to be in all blue. No? You don't like that he came out in black?
I do want to I want to say this though, real quick. I just want to know why, right? And that's clearly, I think we're gonna get a why. Hopefully.
Tell me why.
Next week.
Ain't nothing but a heart. I hate it. I like the heel turn, but I don't like being an evil dinosaur. I have absolutely no interest in that. If you're gonna do that, shed the gimmick. You weren't actually a luchador. You don't need the mask. We've seen him unmasked multiple times. I love the idea of the heel turn. I really like the idea of him being Christian's muscle. I hate the idea of him still doing it under the guise of being a dinosaur. I think that's really, really stupid. I think if you're going to repackage him, you get one swing and a miss at it, and they missed.
I can't believe Kate's turned on fun.
I'm for fun. Faces should have fun. Dinosaurs that are evil
dinosaurs have had it rough. Let them have some fun.
No, I won't.
When the working day is done, dinos just want to have fun.
He's a dinosaur. The evil dinosaur shit doesn't fly. I'm all for him being a bad guy. I'm all for the muscle. I have no interest in them. If you're gonna be a dinosaur and make like these promos about being 100 million years old, you gotta ditch this gimmick when you're turning heel. It doesn't work at all for me. However, I did love Christian just wishing death upon everyone. This was the squashiest squash in the history of the world. So that all works, but I fucking hate it. Nope, not for me.
Maybe he's evolved.
Well, then he should just be like a bird.
I mean, right? I guess. He'd be a wrestling bird, but there's already a bird team. They're called the Birds of Prey. They wrestle out of Philadelphia.
Of course, legends.
And they speak like me.
They do speak like you.
There's 3 of them, too.
Big rivalry with the old Roddy Piper, if I recall.
Well, the Trash Man.
And the Trash Man.
Who almost killed a guy.
That's right. Well, we're split on Luchasaurus. I know it's not a popular decision in this house. Hopefully we get some sort of reasoning in the next couple weeks. But we then go backstage for a face-to-face between Wardlow and Scorpio Sky. No physicality. Wardlow's done talking, and he wants Sky to bring all of American Top Team because he'll beat them like security and then beat his ass to take home the title. Asian Joe's saying that Luchasaurus could be the ghost of Frankie if he's going to be a bird.
It's true. But I think if Frankie is going to be back in wrestling, he should be a face, because who's not going to want to cheer for Frankie after everything he's been through?
Very true. So Scorpio says that he can talk tough because of no physicality, but next week they're going to make it a street fight for the TNT title. I'm just going to keep going.
Big ups to Frankie. That's all.
I know. I'm just going to keep
your
going.
Respects. Maybe learn something.
well, I'm just gonna keep going. So guys, next week we'll finally get Wardlow for the TNT title against Scorpio Sky. So I guess Sky's injuries are okay, so he can wrestle.
In a
It's going to be a
street
street fight.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very purposeful that Sky got him to make this a street fight, because Sky is clearly not going to fight one-on-one, and Sky's not going to bring 20 security jobbers. He's going to bring Ethan Page and some other, and Wardlow's not going to win because it's a street fight. And it's not that I hate that idea. I'm spoiling everything for something I haven't seen.
No, it's disrespectful to security.
It's true. But it's not that I hate that idea. It's that I'm okay with that, but give Sky some other just straight up matches too. Like, do both. He can beat, I'm trying to think of a mid-level face, but he can beat a mid-level face and still then go in and, like John Silver, I know he's in a tag team, but we just saw about, he can go beat John Silver and then he can go cheat and beat Wardlow, but at least you've given him a whole run.
My guess is that he is probably not fully cleared, and the street fight is a stipulation to cover up him still being a little bit injured. That's all just me guessing. But I think part of the reason it's a street fight and we're not seeing any interim bouts is because maybe he's not fully cleared, and a street fight allows you to cover up a bunch of bullshit for if you're injured. That's just a complete hypothetical guess, but
I also don't think they're pulling the belt off Scorpio now, so this covers them in that way too. Asian Joe says Sky's TNT title runs have both felt transitional. I don't disagree. I think the unfortunate thing is he's had some of these injuries that sort of hamper him right now. So I'm hoping they don't pull this title off immediately, but you never know. Maybe it could be one of those things, Kate. Yes, it's a street fight because he's not 100% clear, but maybe they do need to take the belt off him. So this is how they get it off him. And maybe he'll come back to it. Maybe he'll go for that All-Atlantic title at some point.
They can only relinquish so many belts due to injury.
It's very true. All I know is that I want to see more of Scorpio Sky, not less. So I'm hoping this isn't just transition, but we'll see next week. All right. Next we go to the Ass Boys and Max Caster versus Danhausen and some mystery opponents. So Danhausen says during his entrance that he heard the Ass Boys challenge him to find partners, and he says he feels like he found some guys who are pretty good at wrestling. And that's when it's revealed that FTR are his partners. Also forgot to note that during the Ass Boys entrance and with Max Caster, the Ass Boys were all business. They did not want to do the gimmick where they fooled around and said where they were. So it just went straight to Bowens in the wheelchair, scissor me daddy ass, blah, blah, blah. As we get through this match, Danhausen is getting worked over. Eventually FTR does, get back into the ring. Things kind of clear up. Danhausen gets back in. He is able to get the win by pinfall, for the win. And then what happens is that in that whole, sorry, I'm leaving so much out because my brain is moving faster than my mouth. Okay. During this whole kind of wrap up to the match, magically, it's a miracle, guys. Bowens gets out of his wheelchair and attempts to take out Danhausen with a crutch. That is what allows Danhausen to get the win because he ducks it. It hits Colton Gunn, I think. I don't know. Whatever gun gets it in the face. And that's how Danhausen gets the pin. So post-match, FTR and Danhausen wreck the wheelchair. And the Guns start to confront the Acclaimed in the ring. And then Billy shoves his own sons away. So a little dissension in the House of Ass.
Would you say the ass is cracked?
I'd say that this has ripped the asses. Somebody is completely ripped ass. Yeah.
Straight up the middle. There's a big hole in the middle of the asses.
Let me tell you, it stinks.
It does. Like stinky, like butt cheese.
It just stinks. Listen, this whole story actually is really intriguing to me. Because, the ass boys at the buy-in ran out and Caster helped Billy, get the win. Now tonight, a mistake is involved, and where you clearly think Billy is going to take it out on the Acclaimed, he doesn't. He actually sides with them. So I'm actually really interested to see where the story goes. Kate, I know, hates the ass boys, but to me, I kind of like where this story's going.
Mike Peterson with a big W in the chat saying that the asses are a little chapped. I don't hate the ass boys. I think they're good at what they do. I popped real hard for FTR Hausen. That just cracked me up. My problem is I just don't care about them because they're not for me. This is where Schlong could argue that I've turned my back on fun. But I still love Marco Stunt, so it's not that bad. But I just would rather see Private Party or Bear Country than I would see any of this shit. Okay, I don't care. A father turning his back on his sons, I guess, is somewhat intriguing, but it seemed pretty obvious to me based on their interactions on the ramp that this is where it was going. Very happy to see that Bowens is back to health, it would appear. Or close enough at least, which is wonderful. But you have Max Caster coming out and he has like this extremely seemingly cool gimmick, and then he's rapping about the ass boys. Like, it's just not. There's so many things I would rather see on my television. What they put in front of me makes wrestling sense, and everybody's doing well at their jobs. It's just not for me. As a matter of taste, I don't like it, but it makes good enough wrestling sense.
This just in: Kate doesn't like ass boys.
I have one question for Kate Schlong before we get your take on it. Kate, did you enjoy
Cash Wheeler slapping ass? Yes.
No. Did you enjoy Danhausen cursing the one gun and then putting him up for what appeared to be the go to sleep?
Yes. That I enjoyed. And I also enjoyed, this was in my notes, I can't believe I forgot to say it, that Cash Wheeler slapped an ass boy on the ass popped me tremendously. I thought that was very, 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 very funny. Danhausen should use the go to sleep. You don't have to be a technical wizard to use it. CM Punk's not a technical wizard. It's not that great of a finisher. If he wants to use it, go right ahead. But I also just think it's funny that Danhausen is lumped in with the Bret Hart crew of like FTR and CM Punk. Like, that just is hilarious to me. I love that.
And Schlong, I'll put this question to you. Do you think at this point, if you're Danhausen, you have to wake up every day and be like, how the fuck did I get here? I'm in a match with FTR on television.
I don't think he sleeps personally.
It's got to be an amazing
upside down.
Yes.
Is it sleeping or is it just eyes closed? Do vampires sleep?
They do, in a coffin.
Okay. Yeah, no, he's living the life. My God. You had to slow your brain down so that you could say the words. I just got to stop singing the Ass Boy song in my head. I don't know how Kate hates this. I feel like she should love this. It's not taking up anything real. The Ass Boys are the butt of the joke. And it just feels like, and it's gotten us some fun stuff. And I think if anything, it's really helped the Acclaim to get more and more over.
It has helped them get arguably more over, but there's just other things I would rather see. And where the hell was Hook tonight? Come on.
It's funny because Mrs. Money was like, well, Hook's got to be his partner. I was like, they would have fucking advertised that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be Hook. But yeah, part of me was like, wait a minute, where's Hookhausen? But listen, did I enjoy seeing FTR and Danhausen? FTR Hausen?
The funny thing is, FTR and Danhausen, like, there's logic there because Danhausen has made it known that he loves Pepsi Man, and they love Pepsi Man, and they love Bret Hart, and it's clear that Danhausen loves Bret Hart. So there's logic that they'd be willing to team up.
That's true. They have made that very known.
I'm gonna fight you one day, Kate. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
Does he love Bret Hart or Bret's Hart?
I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
Just saying.
Could be both.
We do get a promo, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh demanding Samoa Joe put up that Ring of Honor World Television Championship at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but again, good to see they're continuing this story. And we go to Jade Cargill's open challenge for the TBS Championship against Layla Gray. And Jade Cargill does win by pinfall with Jaded to retain her championship. Post-match, our man Stoke gets on the mic, but Jade snatches it away and says she's tired of the fans and women in the back bitching and moaning, and tells Stoke to get her some real competition. Stoke says she's fired up, but he knows why, because at 11:49 last night, she gave an opportunity to everybody in the locker room, and the woman that stepped up doesn't even work there. Statlander and Athena, they're not overlooked. They're just lazy. Well, that causes Athena and Stat to slide into the ring to attack Jade and Kira Hogan. There's a shotgun drop kick that takes out Jade. Athena gets up to the top rope, but Layla Gray attacks her after Stoke kind of whispers something into her ear, and she helps Jade and Kira beat off the baby faces. But afterward, Gray goes for a handshake, and Jade cold shoulders her. So not sure what's going on with Layla Gray. Doesn't look like she's a member of the baddies. And this is why we need to get at Stoke and basically tell him the Mark Order Pod says for you to get Sunny Kiss into the baddie club. It needs to happen. Mrs. Money made a great point. This is the last Dynamite in Pride Month. How you not gonna have Sunny come out with the baddies? Come on now.
Yeah. And this was a thing on Twitter as well. The AEW TV account tweeted something about who would you like to see with the baddies? And Sunny Kiss was like, have only been asking for months over here. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it does feel a little bit like, well, I'll unpack the segment first. Loved the segment. The match was what it was. I loved Jade's reaction. I liked Stokely always having a plan. He's always going to be shady and shifty. And so Layla signed up for the match, but was also in their back pocket the whole time. Like, I love that idea. I liked him calling the locker room lazy is great, because that's just the perfect thing to say to piss off a wrestler. So I liked what I saw in front of me. The problem is that Sunny Kiss should be a baddie, and there's a lot of people calling for that. And when you have things like video packages that run all of Pride Month multiple times an episode, and you don't highlight your LGBTQIA talents, it looks extremely performative. And it feels even more performative when there's something that's as logical as Sunny Kiss being a baddie. Like, that's not trying to force fit anybody into a stable that exists. That is someone who belongs in that stable regardless of how they identify, right? Like, that just makes so much sense. So I find it extremely disappointing that Sunny Kiss hasn't been there. I liked what unfolded in front of me today. I don't have really any interest in Layla Gray. I got to interview her one time. She was delightful. She's very new to wrestling. She looked serviceable in this match and in the post-match beatdown, but it is a wasted opportunity for other people that are in that locker room. Sunny Kiss included and probably at the top of that list. So it's just frustrating when you see someone who's been in the business for a cup of coffee, as they say, getting an opportunity like that, and somebody who hasn't been on TV in almost 600 days, I think, that is consistently working dark and does work for your company and is representative of an underrepresented population, not be in a spot like that. Maybe they don't feel comfortable because they don't know if Sunny should be fighting men or women, but I think that is a discussion that needs to happen sooner rather than later, and that Sunny Kiss is absolutely a TV talent.
I agree 100%. I don't have anything to add. I'm in agreement 100% with you, Kate. Schlong, anything you want to add to this? All right.
I'm afraid to say the word because Kate will make fun of me for how I say it.
Probably, but you can mute my mic and I can't.
Okay. You didn't want to say no.
You didn't want to say
No.
No, I don't have anything to add.
I was gonna say nope, but I'm like, I do the same thing on that word. So I'm
Nope. Nope, we don't. They did show a promo for Grand Slam, which means that our crew is going to have to discuss a field trip, because that was a very fun event and a very cool place to see wrestling happen. So
Yes.
okay. I'm sorry. Okay. They go to commercial and come back with a Young Bucks promo, and they're talking about how they're unhappy and ask where all their friends are. Redragon and Adam Cole are hurt, not cleared. And that it's not even Brandon Cutler behind the camera. They have an intern. They don't have one friend left except their tag titles.
They did kind of hint that they had one friend, but they quickly got away from it.
Yeah.
Hangman, my friend. Hangman's not hurt.
Yeah, but it's okay. We're just trying to get to the match they're setting up, Schlong.
I just think it was an important, subtle thing that they're clearly not done with that. They're starting that story up again.
Well, it is interesting because they did have that moment at the pay-per-view as well. So it looks like it's not fully done. I also don't remember. Did they invoke the name of Kenny by God Omega?
I don't think they did.
They did not.
By God, they did not.
69 me, Don. But they did hear that Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi won a title match, and that's what they're going to set up for Rampage. Except that they have to beat them on Rampage before they give them a title shot. So we're going to get that match Friday night. Stay tuned for that. And then they introduced JR to join commentary for the main event. So we actually didn't note it at the top. Taz, Excalibur, and Shivani were on the call for the show, and it wasn't until this point in the night that JR made his appearance. Now, it was very much like the pay-per-view, where JR wasn't around for a portion of it and then came in for some of the matches that were a little more important, quote unquote. So I actually liked this, especially because at one point, sort of during the main event, he's talking about, I've seen some of these matches. I've seen people get involved with cages and things didn't end well. And he's obviously talking about, Hell in the Cell and things like that. So it is very cool that they brought him out, and it was like a big deal, right? Like it made things seem super important. I haven't heard of anything going on with JR that would prevent him from doing the whole show. I thought I heard somebody mention something like Friday night Taz won't be there. So maybe they were going to switch it up and put JR with Excalibur for Friday night. But I mean, I didn't mind this, guys. I actually like the fact that they bring out JR for this because it's a big match. And if they are moving him sort of off the desk to do something else, maybe this is kind of the move. I know you kind of said that before, Kate, but I'm basically just recalling it because I sort of agree. I like what they did with this.
Yeah, I think it's always makes things feel like a big deal when you have a special guest announcer. And I feel like JR is better when he's focused for a shorter period of time instead of spread out for like a 900-hour pay-per-view. I can't blame him. I wouldn't be very good either. And he's such a legend. Like, why not cash in on that status, right? Especially when you have so many other very good announcers already in play.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely added to the important feel of the main event, which during this time they were sort of like showing the cage being lowered to the ring. Jericho Appreciation Society did make their entrance before we went to a break. And my God, the fashion of the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I appreciate it.
My thinking was it was a play on A Clockwork Orange. I don't know if it read like that to anybody else. It was different. It wasn't like a straight up, it wasn't just the red that they were wearing, but they all had the same clothes on with the suspenders and the hats.
Daniel
That's how I sort of read
Garcia
it.
in a do-rag.
Fantastic. The waves in his head look
Ugh.
fantastic.
Entertained. I am.
When they get back from break, we do get the entrances from Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, and Santana, as well as the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and Yuta, and then Moxley comes through the crowd. Funny moment, it looked like Mox didn't know where his entrance was, and he was just sort of going through the crowd, and then once he got over, Eddie was like laughing. I think Eddie realized like he didn't know where the fuck he was going. So it was pretty fun. But again, the rules for this match, for those who maybe didn't watch it, it was 1-on-1 to start, one from each team, and then it was going back and forth after 3 minutes. A member from each team, they would switch off who enters. So the man advantage went to the Jericho Appreciation Society, and the match wasn't official until everybody was in the cage. So sort of war game style, First two in the match, I was a little surprised. Claudio and Sammy. I thought maybe they would put Wheeler in first, but I didn't mind the way this started. Claudio, my God, looks like he was stiff as fuck. I would love to know from Sammy if some of that was stiff, because at one point I was like, oh my God, Sammy's just trying to get away and get his breath for a minute. But eventually, just to kind of go through some of what happens here, Daniel Garcia is the next man to enter the ring. So it's 2-on-1. Claudio is able to weather that storm. Yuta gets in the ring. Odds are even. Hager enters the ring. The heater comes in. They're still able to sort of weather the storm. And then after that, I was actually surprised that it was Mox to get in the ring third, right? For the Combat Club. I was just surprised because I thought they'd leave Mox till a little bit later just because he's such a big name, but it seemed to fit. Angelo, Cool Hand Ange gets in next. Now, this was a moment where I truly thought Angelo was knocked the fuck out, because they were doing these trading European uppercuts. I don't know about you guys. I thought he legit got knocked on his ass and was down. I think it was Mox gave him one after, Claudio hit him. He got back up, went to Yuta, looked sort of okay, and then Mox hit him with a stiff one. And then he just went to the mat, and they kind of were like, all right, job's done.
Yeah. There was a lot of that this match where I was like, hey, have the rosters already injured?
Yeah, easy. All right, after Ange, it's Ortiz. Then Daddy Magic enters the ring. Then Santana gets in, and here's where I want to pause for a second, because unfortunately Santana's in the ring for less than a minute and he buckles. I didn't see anything official, but it looked like he blew his fucking knee out. In a standard move, he wasn't even doing something crazy, but he immediately went to the ground, went over to the cage, was talking to somebody, and he was pretty much done. He did get up one time to maybe see if he could at least do something. Did not work out. So they stayed off of Santana the rest of the night. I think at some point too, they got him out of the ring.
They did. Yeah, they pulled him out of the cage.
So unfortunately it looks like Santana is going to be hurt, because that did not look good.
Add it to the list.
Yep. And then of course Jericho is the last man to get in for the Appreciation Society, and of course Eddie enters after that. The match becomes official. This match had everything you could ask for: chairs, glass, tacks, kendo sticks, bats and barbed wire, bats or Floyd aluminum bat,
of course,
a table, and then eventually they are able to get out of the ring. So Tay Conti was ringside, and at one point she's able to knock down a referee and open the cage up. That's when Ruby Soho comes down to run off Tay Conti. So it looks like maybe we're going to get something there. The cameraman had an advantageous camera shot as well for that whole exchange. My goodness. And now we're out and getting onto the top of the structure, which I was very happy to see. Appeared very well reinforced. Didn't look like there were going to be any accidents going through it. The whole time I said to Mrs. Money, Jericho, you don't need to be doing this. Then Eddie followed him up, and I was like, Eddie sure as shit doesn't need to be doing this. And then Sammy went up, and I said to Mrs. Money, Sammy, you don't need to be doing this either. And then eventually Sammy goes off of the cage through a table, crash pad deal. Guys, I was just very happy pausing there for a second. They seem to do a much better job of shielding the crash pad than they did at Daly's place. I mean, it was obvious, but it wasn't as obvious as
it was only obvious because the table was about a foot or two higher than it needed to be,
and
like
wider.
It would be normally. Yeah, normally would. But I will never complain that something looks a little silly because they're protecting their guy when he takes an insane bump.
Yeah, I mean, you had to be safe with that. And what a better guy to take that bump than Sammy, because he knows he's gonna get his body around right and land right. So that looks great. And then eventually Daddy Magic makes his way to the top of the ring, to the top of the cage. So does Claudio. And this ends with basically Eddie putting Chris Jericho into oh my God, the stretch plum. Excuse me, I forgot. I want to say stretch muffler. It wasn't the stretch muffler. Stretch plum. And Claudio is able to get Daddy Magic in the sharpshooter. And we don't know what's going to happen. It looks like Jericho's not going to tap. And so Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, taps out. And it looks like there's going to be an issue here between Eddie and Claudio, but cooler heads prevail. The Combat Club wins. Eddie's a little frustrated, but everybody is cool. Everybody gets on top of the cage. It looked like at one point there, I thought, Kate, maybe that Eddie was going to turn on Claudio here. But if that was the plan, it didn't happen. At one point, the camera was right on Eddie, and you can read his lips. He said something like, I fucked my back up. So if anything was supposed to happen, maybe they just said, no way. Like, I'm fucked. I can't do this. So
he did say, I'm fine, though, after. I don't know if he kept reading his lips, but let's just hope that. I said before, like, I've now lived in a world where CM Punk and Eddie Kingston are on the same roster. I can't have neither of them active now. That would be terrible for me.
Can you also do me a favor, Kate, and just let the people know what you texted us about Eddie during this match?
I can. I'll pull up the exact quote because I don't want to fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ashamed.
I'd like you maybe to let the world know what you said about Eddie Kingston.
Well, first, I had texted you a while back. I hope Mrs. Money is in the chat tonight because we need to talk about Christian's fit. But later, I said that.
Also, just so we didn't get to it while she was here. She wasn't totally in love with the fit. She didn't like the turtleneck.
That's fair. It's summertime. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I did say that I would both F and M Eddie Kingston, which of course stands for fuck and marry in a game of fuck, marry, kill. He's perfect and he does everything right in professional wrestling, and I love him so much.
By the way, since you said F and M, Eddie, I did come up with a good FMK for Mrs. Money. And there is a Battle of the Belts coming up.
Christian, Tony, and who?
Well, we're going to do a Battle of the Belts is coming in August. We're going to do another special. Mrs. Money has been tagging up with me for the Battle of the Belts. We're going to do it there. I already told... I sort of gave it to her, and then I was like, I don't want to know your answer.
I would die if it was Christian, Tony, and you.
No, it did not include me.
And Ant just gets the kill right off the bat, like, you're done.
For real's married, though.
It's okay. Eventually, I think you want to kill the person you're with.
Fair.
But
wait, I have an FMK for Kate.
Oh, go ahead. Well, wait, real quick. I forgot to mention one thing about the top of the cage. Claudio swung Jericho. He did the swing to Jericho on the top. And that was another thing where I was just like, oh God, you don't need to do this. Like, please just don't kill somebody.
Fun fact, in WWE, he didn't want to take that move because it would make him so dizzy. He was like, it's not the like the brutality of the move. He was like, I was just so disoriented when I would go to get up after taking the swing. And he was like, people would say, put your hands behind your head because it minimizes it. He was like, I couldn't get my bearings for like a while after. And usually after you swing someone, you pick them up and do another move, right? He was like, I tried to not take that move because I would just get so confused about where I was in the ring. But I guess on top of a cage when you're going home, it doesn't matter as much because you're going home at the end of the match.
The altitude helps.
It does. Yeah. It's like if he could take that on Everest, he'd be fine all day.
All right, Schlong, going back to you, your FMK.
Oh no.
Gasoline Eddie.
Of course.
Pipe Bomb Punk.
Oh God.
And current day Peter Avalon.
Oh man.
This isn't as hard as you would probably think. I hate to do this because he's been my friend with benefits for so long, but I'd have to kill Peter Avalon. And then you fuck Gasoline Wielding Eddie. And you marry Pipe Bomb Punk. Yeah. That's how that goes. So.
It's great to see both Asian Joe and Mike Peterson with possible FMKs for Mrs. Money in the chat, and they're not correct. I guess she hasn't let it be known who the third person is because I had it immediately. I was
Sunny
like,
Kiss.
FMK. No, it's not Sunny Kiss.
Oh, it should be.
Well, you'll have to listen to the battle.
It has said who the third is. I can't remember who it is, but she did say it one time.
I'll tell you guys off the air.
Yes.
Okay. You're in the know. Just don't go, spoiling it for people who like fun.
But if we ever start a Patreon, that'll be exclusive content.
We're going to start a Patreon, and we already have ideas for bonus content, which are going to be great.
Including Mrs. Money's FMK reveal.
I mean, there are going to be a lot of FMKs.
Oh my God. I think, can we do an FMK tournament?
I don't know how that would work.
You have 3 sides, and it's an F side, an M side, and a K side. And you go through the brackets of your Fs, your Ms, and your Ks.
And you end up with a triple threat. I like it.
Yep.
Oh my God. All right, guys. What did you think of the main event? Did we like how this played out? I mean, some people, like Mrs. Money said to me, I thought you hate these matches because like you don't like a lot of the blood and stuff like that. And I corrected her and I said, I don't like the death match stuff because that stuff doesn't feel like wrestling at all. At least this felt like to me, this is wrestling. They're still doing wrestling moves. They're using weapons, but it's not just like, I'm going to hit you with a bunch of light tubes and then, do something else that's not wrestling related and pin you for a win. You know what I mean? Like, so.
No, there's a ton of story here. A lot. Yeah.
What'd you think, Kate?
Oh, I loved it. I thought Regal on commentary is the most perfect thing in the world, right? Because it's basically a War Games match. I loved the spot where Sammy climbed the ropes to the other ring to restart the count. I thought that was really fun and clever. Yuta's German suplexes are underrated, I would say. He kind of has been pulling them out of his arsenal a little bit more of recent, and they're fantastic. My favorite Garcia spot, other than just the do-rag reveal, was his face getting dragged along the cage. One of my biggest complaints about cage matches is usually WWE related is that they just don't use the cage or that it's only used for acrobatic stuff, when to me the point of the cage is always to inflict more punishment, right? So I love stuff like that. The crossface on Garcia I thought was great. There was a really cool spot with a fireman's carry into a stunner with where Claudio had him up in the fireman's carry and then into, it was either a stunner or a cutter from Mox, and just fantastic tandem offense in a match that is so weird. I loved Ange just running away so much. I felt like this was incredibly well sequenced. I love that Eddie was the last one in. the tax spot with Jericho dragging Mox across the tax. I referenced that a little bit earlier. And then Eddie whipping tax into Jericho's face was so like violent and something I don't think I'd seen before. And just little things. Like I felt like Claudio was so in his element the whole time. He seemed like he was having a blast. I loved Sammy falling into the table and Eddie just smiling like an idiot. Like I just thought that was so fun. Really my only complaint about this was that they need to get a match sponsor for big matches like this. The cutaways to picture in picture were terrible. The cutaway full commercial was awful. But I really liked the way this was booked. I feel like all the stories came out stronger for it. And to end it with the faces getting the win, which I felt like they needed to, because this was the blow off between the hair match and their earlier match. But also still escalating the tension between Eddie and Claudio, I thought was great. Like Claudio, by doing his job, by doing what he was supposed to do, stepped on Eddie's moment to get revenge on Jericho. And I just think that's the perfect way to resolve this one story and still give birth to this other one that has been 12 years in the making. For those of you who don't know, their feud on the Indies was in Chikara, which was run seasonally. And before the next season could start, where Eddie could get his revenge on Claudio, who had just turned on the whole Chikara locker room, he got signed and was Cesaro. So Eddie has just held a 12-year grudge, which is why I love that guy. Like that kind of commitment is really, really fun to me. So I just thought this was great. And I'm also glad we cleared it, because there has been so many injuries to the roster. I felt like parts of this were uncomfortable. Mox did not look like he was in a hurry to join everyone on top of the cage at the end of that match. Like I think people really got their asses kicked. So I'm also glad that we're through it, because this is already a beat up roster, and that is a brutal, brutal match. Oh, and I always pop for when people rip the mat up and expose the wood under the ring. That just pops me huge. I love that. They did that a little bit in this match too.
Two things to touch on. You said that jogged my brain, and then Schlong, we're going to you. Yes, Wheeler Yuta's suplexes are awesome. They're that like Japanese high bridging style where they're basically like suplexing you on and you're on your forehead.
Yeah.
They look awesome. And two, to your point about the tax, like, did you see at the end the amount of tax not only on Jericho's boots as he was getting swung, but Wheeler Yuta's back during the celebration was just covered in tax. Yeah. I just don't know why he would want to do that. It's just amazing. And also, Mox to me at the end looked a little hesitant about getting on top of that cage. Maybe he doesn't like being up there.
Me thinks someone has a fear of heights.
Could be. Schlong, what do you think here?
I mean, it was great. It was a great match. You and Kate have covered so much. It's tough to kind of like come in and overall great. The weird part is that Santana got hurt on the most basic of moves. Like it wasn't
always is. Like, sorry to interrupt, but like I hear so many people like that are worried about Darby Allin, and it's always like Big E almost getting paralyzed by a suplex gone wrong, and Sting on a sunset flip powerbomb that Seth Rollins has done a million times, almost ending his career. Like, it's just so often these incredibly simple moves that it's like just a couple centimeters to the wrong direction and it like completely fucks you up. But anyway, you're completely right.
Even worse because he didn't even land. He was just, it looked like Ant said, it looks like his knee just went, which you hope is usually a bad sign when it just goes. But maybe he gets lucky and something locked up on him and he didn't want to press it afterwards. It can happen. They laid this out really well. I think Mox coming in third, I was with you at the time. I was like, wow, that's weird. But then when I saw what they did with it, it was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Because you had all of the BCC in together. They dominated that ring. And then, Eddie gets to come in at the end with his kendo stick just one-arming it and hitting people, which was really funny. Claudio obviously looked great. I want this feud to be done, but I want parts of this feud to continue. Like I want Garcia versus Yuta to be a feud. They've talked trash to each other. They're both good, great young talents.
I want Garcia and Claudio so bad.
That's gonna be great. I mean, the BCC is a very interesting thing now because Eddie's not part of that. So Eddie's gonna drop off and go do his own thing. Does he feud with Claudio? Does that carry through? Because it kind of laid a little bit of it, and I do think the back. My hope is that Eddie is one of those people that just has a bad back and it goes out sometimes. That's my prayer, because then he just comes back from it. We all know people who can have that issue. But you can have that. I mean, there's.
It looked like he said, "I fucked my back. I'm fine though," and then he didn't get up, and I was like, but I was like, oh, but. Like guys like him and like Punk and FTR, like they love to work injuries then. You know what I mean? Like, of course he's not going to get up because it looks like he's injured, so he's not going to get up. But
and my thing is, if you fucked your back up, the way he was sitting, if you were in really bad back shape, I don't think you're sitting like that. Like that was an awkward spot. So we'll see. But overall, just an amazing match. I mean, Blood and Guts. For all the talk people had, well, with the Discovery buying him, they'll want to tone it down. It's like, apparently not. And from the stuff we're seeing Turner put out or whoever, they love it. So this is very much what they want. And I think this was a great match. And now I'm just thinking of the future being like, all right, where do we go from here? Not in a bad way, in a good way. And the problem is I wasn't building Claudio in my head when I was building future plans beforehand, and now I have to because he's so good. You're gonna want to do something with him.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a lot of spoons in the porridge. So there's a lot going on. This feud seems to be blown off, but Claudio and Eddie seems to likely still be a thing. So we'll see where they go from here. All in all, an entertaining show. And we did find out Friday night on Dynamite. This happened, so spoilers, I believe, are out there. But Friday night, you will see the Young Bucks versus Haruki Goto and Yoshihashi. And if they win, they get a shot at the AEW titles. Nyla Rose will face Toni Storm. So Toni Storm coming off her loss to Thunder Rosa will get a shot against Nyla Rose, and there will be a 20-man battle royal. They're calling it Royal Rampage, where the winner receives the first shot at AEW interim champion Jon Moxley. So it should be a pretty entertaining Rampage. And hopefully we get an update at some point about what's going on with Santana. There's no official diagnosis yet. People are surmising some sort of ligament tear or something like that. So it would be a blow to those guys because I think a lot of people want to see them start to run through the tag division, but this could be another setback. So we'll see what happens there. And guys, as we're sort of getting to the end here, just a couple things of news and note from the past week in AEW world. It was fun during the media scrum after Forbidden Door. Of course, TK had to get asked about MJF, and whether he was still with AEW or whatever his status is. And guess what? TK's not talking about it. He said, I am, especially after the great show we did, I'm not going to comment on it, but it's a fair question. I'm not going to cover that one right now. So we're still not talking about MJF, which I kind of love. I think it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Also, Ryan, to your point about Turner, I think it came out that AEW will be involved in some sort of fashion with Shark Week. So clearly there's some corporate synergy going on. So we'll get to see some sort of involvement with Shark Week. I don't even think that means in a wrestling sense. I think that maybe some people we will be involved with programming going on with Shark Week. So that should be fun.
Guest hosts and stuff. I think so. Absolutely.
That'll be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Another big announcement that came out around Forbidden Door is Ring of Honor. They did set their next pay-per-view. It will be in Lowell, Massachusetts, Death Before Dishonor, July 23rd. So if you're in the Mass area, you should certainly check it out. Apparently, tickets are starting at $29 plus fees. Tickets go on sale Friday, July 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern. I know from our days going to Ring of Honor before TK, those shows were a lot of fun. Now with, TK and the machine behind them, that last pay-per-view was fantastic. This one should be a lot of fun as well. So we're clearly lining up like Jay Lethal versus, Samoa Joe for the TV title. And nothing else has been announced yet, but my guess is we'll probably see Gresham in some sort of fashion. We'll see that Pure title probably get defended, maybe the women's title. Should be a fun show. They do a pretty good job, or they did a pretty good job with the first one. And the good news too, guys, is it looks like they are keeping Caprice and Ian Riccaboni behind the desk. So that is awesome.
That rules.
Guys, in case you were wondering what is going on with Jake Atlas, good news. His domestic charges have been dropped. So
his weird threesome violence and him can hit the road. He was great in the ring, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, listen, we brought it up, so that's the only reason we're closing loop on this. But a hearing was scheduled for June 28th, but it was canceled. The court has considered it closed. Official documents that were obtained by TMZ Sports quoted from the report that from the investigation which has been made, it is the opinion of the writer that this case is not suitable for prosecution. So maybe there's not enough evidence or whatever, but basically no charges. They were dropped. And Atlas wrestled once for the company, but he did specify he was on a per appearance deal. He wasn't he isn't under contract with them. He's not expected back. But that closes a nice loop that we had on a weird, wild story with Jake Atlas.
Yes, it does.
In some Dark Order news, it looks like they've lost another member. Stu Grayson parted ways with the company. And it looks like Alan Five Angels is no longer with the company either. On June 27th, he tweeted, "Excited for what's next." So that faction keeps getting smaller. We have seen, obviously, Reynolds and Johnny Hungy are in the tag rankings. We did see Evil Uno and Stu Grayson wrestle on one of the Darks this week. So they're still doing their thing, but it's just sort of weird. They're sort of just dwindling and dropping. So not sure what's next, but either way, Alan Angels, I think, is an underratedly good wrestler. So whatever he does next, be on the lookout, because, it'll be fun. Although there are some reports saying that he is, expected to work a per date basis with AEW. He's not officially with the company.
No, he's not actually. He gave an interview with, and I don't feel bad because now we're 6 hours later, so it's already all out there. He gave an interview with Sean of Fightful, Sean Rossap, where he basically said they offered him the per appearance and he turned it down. He thinks he can get a bigger name out on the indies.
That kind of makes sense because he didn't have like a foundation on the indies beforehand, so that actually makes sense. Like, let me go accrue more value and then come back. It to TV would actually, that feels like a reasonable playbook to me. But I also think it kind of makes sense that they weren't going to push Dark Order further down the mountain when they had two guys with contracts coming up, right? So it kind of at least makes sense why they've been stalled a little bit. It just sucks because it's kind of at the detriment of a bunch of other people.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Dark Order. The Mark Order's still here. I know that much.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We got one guy that floats in and out, but
yeah,
he's our Colt Cabana.
That's right.
Yes, yeah.
A couple final things, guys. Really quick notes. If anybody was watching a show, I'm not familiar with it, Monday Night Raw. A few people made an appearance because it was Cena Appreciation Night. Jericho, Danielson, I think Mark Henry, and maybe The Big Show, all gave videos, congratulating John Cena, I guess, for his career. And TK clearly gave the approval to do that. So,
did you say Jericho?
Yes.
Okay.
Little exposure on Monday Night Raw never hurts anybody.
There you go.
Fun though to see Bryan Danielson put back up as Daniel Bryan. Just very fun. There was also some hot talk around Forbidden Door that ticket sales tanked late. I believe Dave Meltzer had said that there was a $4 get in price on the secondary market, and that less than 200 tickets were sold once the TV started promoting the card, which he says told the story of a show with huge demand and died in late interest, the way no show ever has. I don't know how much truth there is to that. It is just a note that I'm reading. I could tell you this much. Looking around that building, it was fucking packed, and there were empty seats, but most of them appeared to be in limited view areas. They did sell the section above, behind the ramp. So those tickets are always, I think, a hard sell, who want to be sitting way back there. But
especially if you're a big enough nerd to go to this show, and I mean that lovingly, you're going to probably want to be able to see what's going on. That's not like a casual viewer experience.
yeah, I mean, listen, the room was packed, so they didn't have a problem selling that. And the last note of the night, Kenny Omega was on Twitch, and he was talking about how challenging his rehab has been, and said that he is done if he suffers another major setback. It is not clear if he was talking about a setback in this recovery or any sort of future injuries, but he did talk a little bit about focusing on storytelling as opposed to athleticism. Some have interpreted he meant he'd be done with his current style, not wrestling altogether. It's not really known, but what is of note in this is the fact that he said his rehab has been challenging. So that's never good to hear, because I love me some Kenny Omega, and I really wish he would come back at some point soon. Not that I think they're suffering without him. I think they've been doing a great job without him, but would it have been fun to see Kenny Omega on a joint New Japan pay-per-view? Fuck yes.
Yeah, I think any wrestling program is probably better with Kenny Omega. I think that's fair to say.
I'm sorry, Kenny by God.
Omega, yeah, excuse me.
So, well, I didn't say it either, so I was correcting myself, not you, Kate. Well, guys, that's all I got. So, let's wrap this show up. It's only been 3 hours and 15 minutes. So, Kate, you've seemingly got the most going on. Why don't you plug?
I don't know. I wasn't on 3 Fightful Select shows this weekend, but every Tuesday you can catch me on the NXT, whatever the fuck that is, post show. Tuesdays on Fightful YouTube immediately after it. You can catch me here, of course, Wednesdays and Fridays at the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show, also on Fightful YouTube. And this weekend, for some reason, we'll also be doing Money in the Bank post show paywall pay-per-view thing. The Fightful Select post show will be me and Alex Pulaski, so you can join us on Sunday as well.
Nicely done. Ryan, what do you got going on?
Well, I've got no future plans because, well, I may have done more this weekend. I don't have like regular podcasts like Kate. But you can find me Mondays and Tuesdays live tweeting Dark and Elevation at Mark Order Pod, and you can interact with me there the rest of the week because I run the Twitter because I have no life. So again, follow us at Mark Order Pod, and so Schlong and good night.
Well, I've got absolutely nothing. Nobody asked me to do anything. So I just have this every Wednesday night on the Mark Order Pod. But as I mentioned before, we've got Battle of the Belts coming up in August at some point. So I'll be doing a bonus show when we get there. Stay tuned. If we do wind up going to Grand Slam, we're going to move this, but that's way out in September. So we've got plenty of time to figure that out. And as always, you can follow us at Mark Order Pod on all social. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all those places. If you go to any one of our socials, hit the link tree, and you can find all of our other socials that we would appreciate if you give us a follow or subscribe or like or anything like that. More importantly, you can show your support by hitting the button to get some free stickers I'll send you out some of these free Mark Order podcast stickers. They're very nice. They're not very evil. They're just very nice. And you could put them wherever you please. So just hit the link tree, hit the button, give us your name, mailing address, and the country you live in. We'll send them out for free. No shipping, no handling. You don't get the first one free and then pay for the second one. Don't listen to any of the bullshit that the people are saying out there. Free stickers. Also, thank you to everybody who's been watching along live with us tonight. The normal crew, Asian Joe, Mike Peterson, Gordon Post, Joe Walsh was checking us out for a while, Rob Humphrey, anybody else I'm forgetting, I apologize. I can't scroll back quickly enough. Eric Freeds and everybody else. We appreciate you checking us out live. If you're checking us out in podcast form, we thank you greatly for doing that. If wherever you're listening, be sure to rate, subscribe, like, review, anything like that helps us out in the algorithms for the podcast. But if you've never given us a shot on the video podcast, head over to our YouTube. They're all there. They're a lot of fun. You see Ryan's crazy backgrounds. Sometimes he plays different characters. Sometimes Millionaire Matt's here and he might be shirtless. Who knows? You never know. So check us out. Everything stays on our YouTube. And that's it, folks. Next week, we're 1 week closer to Sexy 69. So be sure to follow us on our journey to episode 69, where it's going to get wet and wild on the Mark Order podcast.
Last episode of the show.
No,
69.
don't say that, Kate. Don't.
It's just never, we're never going to get, you know what? It's possible that we could get to 6,969. So we'll keep going.
Listen, we made it past 1 year. We are already the A show of the Shining Wizards network.
We are.
And I wanted to say Mark Order Network because
basically is.
We're in talks of buying a library, if you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, AntMoney, Millionaire Matt, you know, we can make it happen. So don't sell us short, Kate. We can do if the Wizards on Monday nights at 7 p.m. on the Shining Wizards Network, where you can usually see Millionaire Matt. I don't know why he wants to be involved with a B show that's done 10 years of mediocrity as best they could. But we can certainly make it as long as they have. Certainly can. All right, guys, that's it for real. Thank you for checking us out. Tune in next week, same time, same place, for the Mark Order podcast.
Rest in peace, Frankie.
Oh boy. Really? But that's how we're going to go out with a Frankie?
Why wouldn't we go out with Frankie? Rest in peace, Frankie, the macaw of high energy.
But you didn't give a macaw call. That's the way you got to go out.
Rest in peace, Frankie. Ah!
This concludes the Mark Order podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.